Wait, why is this not working? Come on now. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Had to restart and replace the batteries. Tested everything right before the stream started, too. And it all worked. Live broadcast, you know? Sometimes that's just how it goes. So, yeah. Anywho. Thank you all for sticking around there. 4 minutes and 54 seconds. That's way longer than I was hoping for there, Murph. Shoot. Thank you for timing me. Anywho. We were going to get into some metazoa. And I was going to post a picture to Blue Sky real quick. So let's take care of that. There we go. Yeah. Actually, we could take a better screenshot, I think. There we go. Yeah. I don't want to have the same facial expression in every single one. That's a little goofy, though, honestly. We can do better. Come on. That's fine. We'll just do that. Gotta get this thing going. Go. Excellent. It's our last stream for 2 weeks. Since I'm departing for SVP 2025 tomorrow. Tune in now for Paleontology Q&A, discussion of why scientific conferences are important, and then our usual Thursday Birds Day festivities. Twitch.tv/Paleontologizing. And do you usually put dots in UK? I don't actually see that all that often. Out. Okay. And short screenshot of me in my office with a whole slew of British paleontological accoutrement behind me. Megalosaurus, Dennery, and Crystal Palace, Iguanodon models, Scelidosaurus skull, Echiosaurus ammonite, Alright, good enough. Save, and let's post it.
Hold on to your butts.
Paleontologizing. Looks like it's spelled correctly. Let's do it. Yeah. Good stuff. And here is... Oh, there we go. Copy link. There we go. This looks pretty similar to yesterday's post. In fact, it's almost exactly the same, except for the background and the lighting, and my shirt color, and I got a haircut today, but you could barely even tell. Oh well. Verified. Hey, good afternoon to you too. I think I saw that you followed earlier when I was offline. Welcome, welcome. It's good to have you here. Let me know if you've got any questions. And accoutrement. That's a word I haven't heard or read before. Really, Pothok? It's a good word. I should have used the word miscellanea. That probably would have been a little bit of a better fit there. Oh, come on. No. The keyboard thing. It's happening again. I gotta keep an eye on that. Yeah. So accoutrement are additional items of dress or equipment or other items carried or worn by a person or used for a particular activity. So yeah, miscellanea is a broader term than accoutrement.
Accoutrement.
What? That's not how you pronounce that.
Accoutrement.
Accoutrements. All these accoutrements.
Accoutrement.
No, that's wrong. This is I've never heard it pronounced like that. It's wrong. This is incorrect. Incorrect.
Accoutrement. Accoutrement.
No. Verified. Yeah. Yeah. Accoutrements. Out here when we're prospecting for gold up in the Black Hills, you know, you gotta bring a pen, gotta bring your pick, all the other accoutrements. You know, how we say that?
Accoutrement.
No. Dark Muppeteer says, don't forget to take a sufficient supply of U's to use in the UK. Right. If I'm going to be spelling the word color, or the word... If I'm going to be spelling the word paleontology, I need to bring some extra A's, because... Oh, come on, keyboard. What is wrong with this? Hang on just a sec. I'll put this in a place where I'm not going to lose it. Let's see here. What is up with our keyboard setup here? I'm putting it in a different port. Paleontology, or in Commonwealth countries, paleontology. Paleontology with an extra A there. Yeah. Aluminium, there you go, one about. Well, yeah, all of these different things. Finish most of your sentences within it. There you go, otter do it. Otter in it. Let's do some metazoa before I forget. And thank you for the likes on that post there. Hyverius, Lenina, and Salamander, I appreciate that. Yeah. Let's do some metazoa, shall we? Nice little warm-up game for today's stream. So this is a daily animal guessing game. There's a mystery animal of the day. We got to try and figure it out in as few guesses as possible. It's a lot like that game Wordle, if you're familiar with that, but it's the zoological version. So
hold on to your butts.
Let's see if we can figure out what our mystery animal of the day is. Petrodactylus. So they did it in 8 guesses. We'll see if we can beat that. And yes, as Lenina says, no spoilers if you've done today's already. I'm gonna do this fair and square, you know? Please, no spoilers. I like to start with a placental mammal. Because this game is kind of heavily biased toward mammals and birds to a certain extent, too. Placental mammals are mammals that don't have a pouch, so no marsupials, and they don't lay eggs, so no monotremes. In the name of a non-egg-laying, non-marsupial mammal. And you'll see, Lottie Finchy, there's not a certain amount of letters, there's a certain number of animals in the database. Yeah, Mayor Space's flying squirrel. I've had flying squirrels on the brain a little bit because... Here, Lordy sent this to me. Which I thought was funny. From the Onion. Flying squirrel loves it every time. Who can tell me what's wrong with this? Somebody's gotta know, right? Yes. Ah! Chat, you are on it. Yes, indeed. That is not a sugar glider. Oh, excuse me, it's not a flying squirrel. It's a sugar glider, which is a marsupial. It's not even a placental mammal. Which, I don't know if the Onion did that on purpose or not. I would almost think they did it on purpose because I know they have a ruthless editorial staff. But sometimes even very well-educated, very clever, very savvy people are still clueless when it comes to biology. That's a theme that we talk about a lot on this channel. But this is not a flying squirrel. That is a sugar glider. So, flying squirrel is a type of squirrel, part of Sciuridae. It is a rodent. Flying squirrel. But a sugar glider, it's like this. It is a pouched mammal. It is a marsupial, which is really cool because it is completely unrelated to the flying squirrel. Like they diverged, their ancestors split way back in like the Cretaceous period. So a long, long, long time ago. They're nowhere close to... This animal is more closely related to a Tasmanian tiger or a koala or a wombat than it is to a flying squirrel. You know? Yeah. Your dad had 4 of them. Very cool. Sarah Werning, colleague of mine, who's worked on dinosaurs and a number of other critters. She had a pet sugar glider. She told me all kinds of stories about it. But, anyway, yeah, where were we going with this? Oh yeah, somebody suggested flying squirrel, and I think it's a good place to start. A flying squirrel is a type of rodent, and rodents are a very speciose group of mammals. So we'll do that in a minute, but first, here. Let me show you how far away the flying squirrel is from the sugar glider. Let's go to mammals first, on our grand tree of life. That is so cool. Mayor of Spaces, my sister adopted a pair of baby flying squirrels. Really? No cage could keep them, no door could enclose them. They just ran roughshod through the house. When they ran up my mom's dress and chased each other all over her body, that was it. We gave them to the zoo to rewild. Wow. Okay. Very cool. Anyway, here's mammals. Now, our sugar glider is going to be over here. It's a type of marsupial. So watch, it'll take us there when we type in flying sugar glider. There we go. There's your sugar glider there. The Taurus breviceps. A great binomial there. There's a number of different gliders. Wow.
In that brief moment,
Arid.
we alone are the only species to comprehend and appreciate the great dinosaurs.
Thank you, Arity Kenwife. Thank you so much for the 16 months of support. Thank you for the Prime there. Thanks for helping keep me here online. Thank you for supporting science outreach here on Twitch. Good stuff. So yeah. Tauroidea. So possums and sugar gliders and other kinds of gliders, they all form a group here. They are very far from flying squirrels. Who are way over here. They're kind of rodent, part of Urarctontoglyres. There we go. Carolina flying squirrel and Mexican flying squirrel. There's multiple species of flying squirrel. Pretty neat. Actually, there's a bunch. Holy cow. So there's at least 24 species. No, 26 species? No, 44 species of flying squirrel. Wow. Thank you, Agent Orange. Hey. I really appreciate those 5 gift subs. Excellent. 5 very lucky chatters won't have to watch a single ad for the next month. Thanks to you, Agent Orange.
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
And Golganek, thank you for those 100 bits. Spectacular. We've got a hype train going here. It's beautiful. Yeah. And Nell, I'm going to be in the UK for 2 whole weeks. So, yeah, just like it says in the title. Yeah. I'm going to I'll talk about this in a bit, but I'm going to a special field trip before the SVP conference and a special one afterward, too. So it's going to bring my trip out to a full 2 weeks. And 2 rainy. I would honestly enjoy that, Becca Paintmore. We don't get enough rain here in California, so yeah. The Murph says, am I wrong, or are sugar gliders possums? They might be considered. They might be nested within the possums.
No expense.
And thank you, Golganek, for gifting Diatom's Attack. Diatoms was just saying, if you like watching ads, we're sorry.
Tier 1 sub to Diatom's Attack. They
Right
have
back at you,
given
Diatom's Attack.
509 gift subs in the channel.
Yeah. Good stuff. And Nell, I might well see that trackway in Oxfordshire, because I'm going to be hanging out with Richard Butler, who is, I think, one of the leads on that project. Yeah. I don't know if it was discovered last month, but it definitely has been a thing that they've been working on. Yeah. Promise there'll be some quality rain. I'm going to hold you to that, Pursue. I'd like to see some rain. Anyway, flying squirrels. We've got 44 species of them. But they are nested within Sciuridae, the squirrel family. Man, there are a lot of species of 276 species of squirrel. Impressive. Anywho, let's try flying squirrel here and see if that gets us anywhere close. And no. Okay. So it's not a flying squirrel. It's not a rodent. It's not part of Urarctontoglyres. It's not even a mammal. But our critter is an amniote.
Really spectacular.
And thank you, Golganek, for the gift sub to Sparky Pugwash. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Golganok gifted a tier 1 sub to Sparky_Pugwash. They have given 510 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Diatom's Attack says, flying monkeys are greater than flying squirrels. So, flying monkeys aren't actually a real thing. But there is another creature that's kind of close. And we'll jump out from here to primates. And hang on a second. Urgle, thank you so much for the 10 gift subs. I really appreciate that.
Overloading the system.
Thank you kindly. Look, this lovely Tinamu bird is just as excited as we are about your generosity here. Check it out. Watch out, sweetie pie. Oh man, she's completely unfazed. Thank you.
It was like
Urgle
you go
Wurgle
to
for
the shoe
the 10
store
gift
and they're like,
subs.
maybe we have it in the back, and it was like all the fossils back there. It was pretty sick.
That's pretty sick. Lordy, you know what's even sicker than that is your 66 months of support. Thank you very much. Holy cow. We got a hype train going. Urgle Wurgle, 10 gift subs. We are that much closer to buying me some meals in the UK while I'm there. Thank you for that. Excellent. What are you doing, sweetie pie? What are you doing? What? What are you after? What are you after? What's going on? What are you looking at over there? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. You know, the Metazua game resets in less than 2 hours, sweetie pie. We gotta get on this, you know? Gotta get on this. These constant distractions here. I was just about to talk about Kalugos. And now this? Another mammal has appeared? Oh. Yeah. All right, let's get you paid, huh? Landlord demands payment. What are those? What tastiness? What tastiness? Excellent. Oh, what do you think? Is that pretty good? Like, is there any more? Do you want some more? We can make that happen. We can make that happen. Eat those up so fast. You didn't want to touch the ones yesterday. Oh, look at those. Delightful. You went up on the rent. I guess so, Kenneth. Yeah. I guess so. Look. It's funny. You can kind of tell that cats are not really adapted for like foraging. You know, they're such hyper carnivores. They're hunters. So you put food in front of them and they kind of don't know how to find it sometimes. They expect it to move, you know? It's just kind of how they're wired. Aw, sweetie pie. You're missing things that are right under your nose. Right under your nose. Oh, there she goes. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, sweetie pie, one of my landlords here. I was gonna show you a Kalugo because, Diatom's Attack, whom you should totally follow, by the way. A fellow paleontologist. He works on diatoms. So, a diatomist, microscopist, scientist. Go follow him. He does really cool stuff. He's making a joke about flying monkeys, and we don't actually have any primates that have developed powered flight, or even gliding for that matter, but there is a close relative of the primates, called Kalugos, that developed gliding. The Philippine flying lemur. It's not really a lemur, but it's just outside of the primates, so it's not altogether too distant. Check this out. How cool is that? So this is related to primates. It's called a Kalugo. Yeah, Kalugos are really, Neat.
It's a squirrel. It's a bird. It's a kite? No! It's the vegetarian night stalker of Southeast Asia. Today, we're in the primate uncanny valley.
Producing a fossil hard as rock. The odds
Tasty
of this
JK.
happening are so slim they are impossible to calculate.
Thank you.
But then
for
on
the 6
top of
months.
that, to actually find the fossil makes the world of the dinosaur hunter the world of the long shot.
Really appreciate that, Tasty JK. Thank you for the 6 months of support. Brilliant. And Blue Mage VT says Animal Logic, yes. And guess who else is going to be at SVP?
Southeast Asia. Today,
Danielle Dufault is going to be at SVP. She's actually a co-author on some presentations that some of my former co-authors are on. So I'm going to see if I can remember to take a picture with her. Maybe post that to Twitch stories or something. We'll talk about that a little bit later if I remember. But yeah, I met her briefly last year. I need to talk to her about doing a potential collaboration. I think that would be really cool. So anyway, Danielle Dufault of Animal Logic.
we're in the primate uncanny valley. We have so much in common with these wide-eyed weirdos, but we're also so different. They glide, they have comb teeth, and
Yeah,
they're 5
pectinate
times
teeth.
lighter than your head. What mysteries do they hold? And what can we learn from them? This is the strangest almost primate in the world, the Colugo.
Neat critter. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're watching Animal Logic. Colugos are a bit of an evolutionary anomaly. Colugos are sort of the mutant love child of a tarsier and flying squirrel. Their lifestyle is pretty similar to those of other gliding mammals, who mostly eat fruits and nuts and have evolved to jump from tree to tree. For small animals like these, the air is safer than the ground, which is swarming with carnivores. Flying squirrels are possibly the most well-known gliding mammals, but this is a successful strategy that has evolved independently several times over many different orders.
Yep, pretty
In
cool.
marsupials, gliding has
the sugar
evolved, among
glider.
others, in the Pitoris genus, which includes sugar gliders and mahogany gliders, and the
Anyway, what would be funny is if the Onion redid their flying squirrel joke right here. Flying squirrel loves it every time. I guess that's not a flying squirrel, it's a sugar glider. It would be really funny if they said, "Oh, it was pointed out to us that this is not a flying squirrel. We regret the error, and we've corrected it here." And they replace it with a picture of a Colugo. That would be a solid joke. We'll see. Anyway, I'll give you a link to this video. Animal Logic is great. Danielle Dufault does excellent stuff. There you go. But yeah, Colugos are related to primates. Diatom's attack, you're responsible for this tangent here. Nope, your head. But yeah, so anyway, we guessed flying squirrel for the animal of the day, and Medizu was like, nope, best I can do for you is amniote. So, let me show you what that means. Our critter is not going to be a flying squirrel. It's not even going to be a placental mammal, but it is going to be an amniote. And so this gives us, again, more information than you might expect, because, you know, which way, modern amniote? To the sauropsids or the mammals? The reptiles or the synapsids? We guessed a mammal, and it's like, nope, best I can do is amniote, which tells us that our critter has got to be a sauropsid, a reptile. And so we could go the Lepidosaur route to these reptiles. This is the Tuatara and the lizards, including snakes, and those guys. Or we could go the Archelosaur route. These are turtles, birds, and crocs. Just by the numbers, there should be like an equal chance of either of these. There's about an equal number of living species. So we've got about 10,000 Archelosaurs and about 10,000 Lepidosaurs. But I happen to know that our game, Metazoa, is pretty heavily biased toward birds and away from other reptiles. So I'm gonna guess it's some kind of archelosaur. I'm guessing it's some kind of neonath bird, in fact. So give me the name of a neonath bird, and we'll run with that. You know, they got a lot of birds in the database. There are flying geckos, and there are even flying birds. It's true, Mayor of Space. Can you believe it? Vogan, it says raven. That's a good one. A raven is a kind of neonath bird. Let's do raven. Nevermore.
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts. Okay, we are on the right track here. Teleoraves, excellent. Known as land birds or core land birds. Recently defined clade of birds defined by their arboreality. Alright. Australavians and Afroavians. Interesting. Teleoraves. Let's look these guys up on Wikipedia. This might help us out. So that's passerines, parrots, seriamus, and falcons. So what we got to do is find the most distant clades from Corvidae, ravens and jackdaws and crows and stuff like that. Jays. And then, yeah, so teleoraves. And of course they don't have that clade on One Zoom. So let's do neonaths. There we go. There's these guys. So we searched raven, which is a corvid. Right here. There's Corvidae, but our critter is not a
1,000 bits
corvid.
can make a wonderful difference in promoting the appreciation and understanding of fossil science here on Twitch.
To help restock the
Thank you,
cat treat
Lilith Hobo.
supply.
Really appreciate that, Lilith Hobo. Thank you so much for the 1,500 bits. Phenomenal. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Good stuff. Thank you for your generosity. Brilliant. Yeah, our critter is not a corvid. So here's Corvidae. So it's not here. I gotta find which one of these is gonna be Teleoraves. It includes all the passerine birds. And then African and... yeah, so there's Passeri. So it's not gonna be any of these guys, I don't think. No passerines. Hobby. Seriamas. Mouse birds. Birds of prey, toucans, and more. Oil birds, sun bitterns. But it's more narrow than neonaths, but it's less specific than passerines. I wonder if hummingbirds are part of this clade. Oh, I don't see hummingbirds here. So, Teleoraves includes owls, other birds of prey, Septriformes, Cathartiformes, Falconiformes. Let's try owl and see if that gets us anywhere closer. Barn owl or snowy owl, though. Let's try barn owl here. And no, darn, that didn't get us anywhere closer. That's so frustrating. Shoot. I can see why you're having trouble with this, Petrodactylus. This part where I got really confused. I can see why. Oh no. Here's the thing, is that it would make logical sense to pick, like, a more distant clade to see if that gets us anywhere closer, but it's not getting us anywhere closer. That's frustrating. Also, guessed barn owl had the same reaction. Shoot, Petrodactylus. Well, you know what they say about great minds. they would be getting it. Fewer guesses than this. Darn. Rabies. Let's try like peregrine falcon or something. I'm sorry, the what? What was that, Pothok? I appreciate the 13 months of support there, but I'm sorry, again? Can you repeat that?
20,000 fathoms.
Pothok, thank you so much for the 13 months of support, and I hope I do have a great time at SVP. I'm sorry, the what? Pothok. Thank you. Yeah. Let's try, like... Raven, barn owl... Let's try falcon. See if that gets us anywhere closer. No! Darn it! And falcons are part of Australaves? I didn't know this. Okay, shoot. So we know it's not a member of this clade, so we can knock this out. But we have hornbills and their relatives, quetzals, hawks, osprey, and secretary birds. Owls are part of Strigiformes, so we know it's not going to be part of this. It shouldn't be a hawk or anything, or else it would have given us this clade. Could be a woodpecker. Or like a hornbill. They don't have hornbill in here. But they do have woodpecker. Let's see if that
Hold on to your butts.
gets us anywhere closer. Oh, shoot. I don't think it's going to be a parrot, Sparky Pugwash, but I'm not totally sure. We've got New World Vulture. So it's not going to be a Hyravian unless the game is borked and they're just missing that clade here. Mousebirds, trogons and quetzals, hornbills, kingfishers and relatives, maybe. Although it would... This is not making any sense at all. Like, I feel like the game is a little borked here. Because... we guessed woodpecker. And if it is a kingfisher, it should have given us this clade, which it didn't. Psittaciformes are parrots and their relatives. These falcons are really close to them, and we guessed falcon earlier. Right here. And so we know that this is not part of clade Australaves, so it can't be a parrot. It can't be, because it's not part of clade Australaves, so we can cross all of this off. It's got to be from something over here. It shouldn't be a Hyravian, because it would have told us so. We already guessed owl. Strigiformes. I don't trust the game to actually be fair at this point. Like, to actually have the clades it's supposed to programmed in. How recently was this clade named? 2022. Okay, it could still be a kingfisher. Which includes critters like, kookaburra. Kingfisher isn't in there, but... And kookaburra is not in there, too? Kookaburras are kind of kingfisher, right? Oh, they are, but that's you spell it with a K, right? Kookaburra. What in the world? Man, this is frustrating. What kind of bird is it? Woodpecker. Falcon. This is a tough one. Mayor Space says Kia. I think Kias are part of Australaves. Kias are from New Zealand, which I'm pretty sure that's part of Australaves. Well, yeah, they're part of Psittaciformes, and we know it can't be one of those guys because they're part of Australaves, right? Yeah, Australaves includes the Psittaciformes. So it's not going to be one of them. Hawks, osprey, and secretary bird. You know what? Maybe let's try a hawk just in case, because if the game is borked, if it's missing like an important subclade right here, it could still be a hawk or another related bird of prey in a Cypteriform, and we wouldn't know it just by looking at this. Also, sometimes these pictures are kind of a hint too. So let's try hawk and see if that gets us any closer.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, just like I thought. So they have subclade Acipterinae, but not subclade Acipteromorphae or Acipteriformes or Hyraves. Goodness. Okay. So it's part of Acipterinae. Acipteriformes, Acipteridae, and within that we have Acipterinae, which is a smaller subgroup. Acipterinae. So this is also known as the true hawks. 73 species divided into 11 genera. So goshawks, sparrowhawks, Doria's hawks, harriers, goshawks. Buzzards. Does this include the osprey? No. It shouldn't be an eagle. Shouldn't be an osprey. Acipterinae. So, hawks, but they don't have any other hawks in the database. Nothing with the word hawk except for tarantula, hawk, wasp. It's obviously not that. Goshawks, Doria's hawk. Harriers. Do they have harrier? Not the jump jet, but they don't have that. What could this be? Genus Accipiter. Sparrowhawks. Sorry this is taking so long, chat. This is... Acipterinae. Kestrel could... Are they Acipterins? Acipterinae. Kestrels are not part of this group, it seems like. Buzzards are... Do they have buzzards in here? They do not. No. Kite? Oh, could be that Sparky Pugwash. Nope, kite is not. They're not part of a Cyptrinae. Unless the game is incorrect about what's currently included in a Cyptrinae. It could be out of date. Let's see. Yeah, sorry, Trick Tracks. It's, yeah. I could try and find a way to make it so that system sounds don't work while I'm streaming, but that might mess up too many other things. Vulture, no, vultures aren't Deceptrins either, Disco Fountain. Again, we're looking at this clade here. Goshawk? Is Goshawk? Nope. There, let's... There's a Cyptridae, and then we're supposed to be looking at a Cyptrinae, which has like 71 species. So it's got to be this clade, right? Kites. Are eagles part of this clade? Are they a Cyptrins? They're part of Buteoninae, so they shouldn't be Cyptrins. Again, it should only be these. Goshawks, buzzards, sparrowhawks, Doria's hawks, and harriers. Cooper's hawks, harriers. There's got to be like an obvious answer staring me in the face, and I don't... There's no sparrowhawk, Lottie Finchy. Again, when we search hawk, the only other answer it'll give us, the only one you can select is tarantula hawk wasp, which is a kind of insect. So obviously not what we want. We've already used 6 guesses. It might just be wrong. Like, it could be that the game is wrong in that, it could be a kind of eagle. And it could be a bald eagle, and the game is just wrong, putting that as an Cyptrin when it's really not. Because, again, bald eagle is not an Cyptrin, it's an Cyptrid. But maybe they made a mistake when they were programming Metazua. When they were programming the game, maybe they goofed. So yeah, if it's eagles, we will all do a forehead slap in unison, says Disco Fountain. It would mean that the game is wrong. But that's kind of the only possibility I can think of that makes sense. There's no other hawks. It doesn't have harriers. It doesn't have buzzards. It doesn't have goshawks. Again, goshawk, nope. Buzzard, nope. I guess we'll try bald eagle and see if
Onto your butts.
if that works, if the game is wrong. It is a Hail Mary, Disco Fountain. Let's see here. The game was wrong. The game is straight up wrong. It is, Petrodactylus. Bald eagles are not aciptrans. They're not. They're not. Yeah. That's why that was so confusing. Metazoa. Should have guessed when it was missing stuff, says Magic Kitty Pixie. I had too much faith. Anyway, we'll go ahead and post this to Blue Sky and voice our displeasure. There we go. But Metazoo was wrong. Let's see. No. Red X. About our animal being in a certain subfamily. When it actually isn't. There we go. This may have brought our average guesses up a little bit, but that's okay. Oh well. Maybe they got their answers from me. I don't think so, Sparky Pugwash. I don't think so. Yeah. The ids and ins can trip me up. Yeah, Charlie's Dragon. We should talk about that, actually. This is a perfect opportunity to talk about these, like, taxonomic ranks. When we're classifying living things as scientists, first of all, we do that based on who they're related to. So, I don't know, like when we're talking about what is a dinosaur and what isn't, the critters that are considered dinosaurs, they all come from a common ancestor. It's not like we just throw things into the category dinosaur because they're big and extinct or something. No. Dinosaurs are a specific group of animals that all evolved from one ancestor. And it's because they evolved from that ancestor that they are dinosaurs. Does that make sense? In the same way that all crocodilians share a common ancestor. They all come from the same place. Same with like subgroups of dinosaurs. So like ceratopsians, they all evolved from one ancestor. Thus they are ceratopsians. This is why your sugar glider and flying squirrel, even though they might look superficially similar, they are completely different animals with different ancestries. So flying squirrels are a kind of squirrel. They're a type of rodent. Sugar gliders have a pouch. They evolved from earlier marsupials, and so they're a kind of marsupial. So classification is all based on what you evolved from, you know? That's why we can draw these evolutionary family trees like this. They're all based on ancestry. So when we as scientists are trying to figure out who belongs where, it's not based on vibes. It's not just a feelings thing. What looks like this? Does a critter have this feature? Those can be interesting indicators that can suggest where a creature belongs on the family tree. But what we're trying to get at is like a real underlying fundamental reality. Two creatures are related to one another if they share a recent common ancestor. And their physical characteristics will likely reflect that. Their DNA will certainly reflect that too. And that's why, if you want to figure out how closely related two different species are, even if you've never seen them before, DNA is often your best bet. Because the genes don't lie. They can be complicated sometimes, sure. But they're about as close we can get to objective data that doesn't require as much interpretation as, like, physical features. Does that make sense? Yeah. Phylogenetics is exciting. It means a lot to us. Good, Pate. Good. Yeah. And Charlie's Dragon says, I had a dream about someone calling a mammoth drawing a dinosaur. And I went, it's not a dinosaur. Mammoth is so far from dinosaur. Yes, indeed, Charlie's Dragon, yeah. So yeah, let's see if taxonomic ranks. If we can find a video on this, talk about it a little bit. Here we go. Here's a lovely video from Crash Course with Brother Hank here.
Taxonomy. It's the science of classifying living things. That sounds exciting. Today, we'll basically be learning the Dewey Decimal System of evolution. It's like filing. You must be on the edge of your seat. Okay, shut up. When it comes down to it, this science doesn't just categorize organisms. When you look a little deeper, you realize it's telling the story of all life on Earth. And
Yep. And Wolvula says, better example than Eoraptor, it's closer to sauropods than dromaeosaurs. Yeah, Eoraptor is a type of sauropodomorph. It's the earliest one we have. So yeah, the name Eoraptor, it could be confusing. If you associate raptor with dromaeosaurs, then like, what's going on? It's not a dromaeosaur. But yeah, good point there, Wolvulus, yeah. By the way, we were speaking with the namer of Eoraptor yesterday. The guy who described it, Paul Serino. His team found that critter back in the 90s. There we go. That might be Paul Serino's hand there, actually. But yeah, 1993. Bingo, Wolvulus. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, one of these days, hopefully we can ask Paul about Eoraptor if he wants to come back for an interview. It'd be great to do a Fossil Finders episode with him. Yeah.
it's a pretty good story.
So taxonomy. How we classify living things.
Every living thing on this planet is related to every other living thing.
Yep.
If you go far enough back, we all have a common ancestor.
Hey Ken,
An
how
organism
you doing?
that both you and I are descended from, or something that a starfish and a blue whale are both descended from, or even weirder, that an oak tree and a salmon are both descended from. That organism lived. It lived very long ago, but it was here. And I dig that. The trick of taxonomy is basically...
So that critter probably, if we're talking about like salmon and oak trees, that critter would have looked something like this, maybe. Little bacterial type thing with a nucleus. Both oak trees and salmon are eukaryotes. And so, if we want to look at this on our tree of life, jump to salmon here, genus Oncorhynchos. Kind of actinopterygian fish, ray-finned fish. There we go. And let's do coast live oak, which is one of my favorite oak trees. We have them here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So this will show how long ago these two species shared a common ancestor. And since they're so distantly related, you gotta go back over 2 billion years ago to get to their last common ancestor. It would have been at the base of eukaryota. So as soon as living things developed a nucleus in their cells with the DNA inside, that's basically where you get this split between animals and plants. Salmon and oaks, in this case. So yeah, our critter would look a little something like this. This is probably pretty similar to what the ancestor of oak trees and salmon looked like their last common ancestor. Does that make sense? I know these can be kind of complicated subjects, so I hope that everybody's tracking. Let me know if you've got any questions. Yeah. And Charlie's Dragon says salmon are more closely related to sponges, which are animals, than oak trees. It's true, and you know, it makes sense when we look at a picture of a sponge. Yeah, you know, they have eyes, teeth, they wear a necktie, and, you know, salmon have eyes and teeth as well. No, I'm just kidding. You know, sponges. Believe it or not, this is an animal, not a plant. This is more closely related to a salmon than it is to an oak tree. Sponges start off with a little larval stage, so they don't become sessile until later. So there's a little sponge larva, and they drift around in the current, and then they land. I think some of them might even have like cilia or a flagellum or something like that to swim around with. Yeah, there we go. That little thing on the end, they might use that to propel themselves a little bit. So yeah. Anyhow. Same with corals, right? Bingo. Blue mage, yes. Yeah. Corals are the same way. Coral larva. Yeah. So, oh, here we go. Beautiful. Yeah. So you get the little larvae, and then they attach to a hard surface like you see in the middle right there. The developing polyp it becomes sessile, it sticks to a surface, it starts to develop like that, and then it reproduces itself via budding, and then you can get a whole colony that develops, and then you get a coral and eventually like a reef. Super cool. Yeah. And Blue Mage says, I remember being told as a kid that scientists weren't sure if corals were plants or animals. I'm glad they finally decided. Yeah. Corals are also an interesting case because it's an animal, but it has a plant living inside it, too. So corals actually have algae that live inside of their bodies. And the algae takes light from the sun. So, like, that's why you usually find corals, like, they're not too deep, where it gets super dark. They're, like, bright, sunny places, tropical reefs and stuff, you know. The algae inside of the coral body, they will take sunlight and produce food, and that helps to feed the coral animal, which is pretty neat. So it's a symbiotic relationship. If you want to learn more about this, you should 1,000,000% follow Shark Geek, who is on a partner push right now. And he is currently trying to raise awareness and maybe raise funds for coral conservation. He's also a diver, he works on sharks. Really, really cool streams. So you can, I think it's on Wednesdays, maybe? I forget what day of the week it is, but he'll show you footage of his latest shark dives. He uses this really cool 360 camera when he goes on a dive. He can't live stream during that time because it's all underwater. But he takes the footage and he'll review it with you live on stream, clicking around, and you know, you can, since it's a 360 camera, you can go like, hey, go left, and he'll turn to the left. You can see that part of the footage. It's really cool stuff. Go follow Shark Geek if you're not yet there. Yeah. Water Wednesdays for dive videos. Thank you, Nelf. Yeah, excellent. But yeah. And Lottie Finchy, sponges and corals are different types of animals entirely. Yeah. So I'll show you on our tree of life again. Let's get rid of these. Sponges, porifera, are over here. let's yeah, anyway, sponges are right here. And corals are kind of cnidarian. So corals are related to sea jellies, jellyfish, and anemones. So here, let's do corals. Let's do cnidaria, which are corals and their relatives. And then here, sponges. Tommy Plodicus, thank you for the 28 months of support.
Paleosalute safe travels across my old homeland.
Thank you, Tommy Plodicus. Your old homeland is the Atlantic Ocean? That's what I'm going to be crossing. Is that really a homeland? Anyway, no, I know you're talking about the UK. Tommy Plodicus, I'm really excited. I've never been to the UK before. It's going to be a big deal. I'm excited. You're a sea creature? Nice. Yeah. So, oh shoot. So corals and sponges are not close relatives. You gotta go all the way back 650 million years ago to where they split. So a sponge is more closely related to you and me. No, hang on. No, sorry, never mind. Corals are more closely related to you and me than they are to sponges, which is wild. Yeah, different phyla, Charlie's Dragon, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, isn't that cool, Lottie Vinci? What a neat resource too, OneZoom. I love showing this off. It's great. Anyway, let's get back to our video with Brother Hank here.
Figuring out where all those branches of the evolutionary tree are, and finding some convenient labels to help us understand all of these remarkable interrelationships. Let's be clear though, taxonomy isn't about describing life in all of its ridiculous detail. It's mostly about helping humans understand it because it's way too complicated without structure. To get that structure, biologists use the taxonomic system to classify all the organisms on the Earth. It's sometimes called the phylogenetic tree, or the tree of life. And
yep, and then these are different, what we call ranks right here. Domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And each one of these has like sub-ranks too. So when we were talking about aciptrids versus acipterins, Aciptridae is a family level. Aciptrinae is a subfamily. So it's like 1 degree more specific than just family. Does that make sense?
And it illustrates the evolutionary relationships between all living
there you go, Charlie's Dragon,
So there are about 2 million known species, but there could be anywhere from 5 million to 100 million species.
Here's something stranger than science fiction. Prehistoric fact.
And Flannel Fantasy 14, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate you clicking that follow button. That makes a lot more sense than Final Fantasy 14, which always seemed like an oxymoron, you know? Like Final Fantasy 2? They must have been lying because the first one wasn't final. Anyway, I appreciate the follow, Flannel Fantasy. Good to have you.
Scientists really have no frickin' idea. New species keep getting discovered all the time, and the more organisms we have to keep track of, the more complex the phylogenetic tree becomes. So there's not always a consensus about how to classify this stuff. There's a lot of gray area in the natural world. Actually, let me rephrase that. The natural world is one giant gray area.
Yep, we talk about this all the time.
It's just hard to know where to put a certain group of organisms, and eventually the group gets so big the classification system has to be messed with to make room for it. So the system isn't perfect, but it's good enough that we've been using it for around 250 years.
Nice. Petrodactylus says the first Final Fantasy game has an Allosaurus that you can find as an enemy. Why would I want to do that? There's not an Allosaurus to find as a friend? Disappointing.
It isn't perfect, but it's good enough that we've been using it for around 250 years. What's that? Do you smell a biography coming on?
Oh, Linnaeus. Okay.
Carl Linnaeus was a Swede, born in 1707, and early in his career as a botanist, he...
And Victorious, thank you
Spared no
for that
expense.
gift sub there. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for that. Good stuff. Thank you for gifting Flannel
Victorious
Fantasy.
gifted a tier 1 sub to Flannel Fantasy XIV. They have given 345 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you, Victorious. Excellent. Appreciate your generosity, as always. If you'd like to learn more about Carl Linnaeus, actually, there's a wonderful book that I can recommend to you. Just came out recently, like a year or two ago. It's over here, isn't it? Where is that? There it is. By Jason Roberts. Every Living Thing. The Great and Deadly Race to Know All Life. Really, really good book. Super well written. And it'll give you kind of a new perspective on Linnaeus and on Buffon. These two contemporaries who were both kind of racing to name all living things. Excellent book. Highly recommend. This is one of those books that's not just informative and interesting. Not only will you learn a lot, but it's beautifully written in a way that I think not a whole lot of popular science books are. It was a joy to read, and I highly recommend it. It's good stuff. Every Living Thing by Jason Roberts. Check it out, Pate B. Yeah, it's good stuff. In fact, you can find it on Thrift Books. Roberts. Every Living Thing. Yeah, okay. It's a little pricey because it's so new. But see if your local library has it. Yeah. And that's cool, Jedi Mega Man. Nice. Huh. Anyway, Linnaeus.
I realized that the botanical nomenclature of 18th century Europe was, well, just crap. For instance, in his day, the formal name of a tomato plant was Solanum caule inerme herbaceofolus pinnatus incisus racemus simplicibus. Linnaeus actually said, "Once I shudder at the sight of most botanical names given by modern authorities." Not only did the sloppiness bother him, he saw a whole sugar storm blowing in, because new plants were still being discovered in Europe, but that was nothing compared to the crazy stuff that was coming from the New World. Linnaeus saw that pretty soon naming conventions were just going to collapse under all these new things to name, and then what? So Linnaeus famously started off by naming himself. He came from a peasant family, and at that time surnames were just for rich people. So when Carl went to college, they asked him for his surname, and he just made one up, Linnaeus, after the linden trees that grew on his family's homestead. Linnaeus got a medical degree and became a professor at Uppsala University, where he devoted himself to the study of nomenclature.
So when I'm at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting next week, I'm going to be hanging out with some people from Uppsala University.
He had his students go to places and bring back specimens for him to study and categorize. The method he eventually adopted was based on morphology, or physical form and structure. This wasn't necessarily a new idea. Back then, people grouped organisms by analogous or homoplastic traits, structures that appear similar but actually come from completely independent origins.
So an example of this would be, just like we were talking about earlier, the sugar glider and the flying squirrel. These are two very, very different animals with completely different ancestries. So flying squirrels are a kind of rodent. Sugar gliders are a kind of marsupial. They're related to kangaroos and opossums and critters like that. So yeah. Back in the day, these two things would have been classified together. Like, oh, well, they both have these skin membranes. They both glide. They're close relatives. It turned out to be completely wrong.
By this definition, birds would be more closely related to butterflies than to reptiles because both
Yeah.
birds and butterflies can fly. But Linnaeus had a good mind for this stuff and turned out to have a real knack for choosing actual homologous traits for his classification system, traits that stem from a common evolutionary ancestor. Linnaeus, of course, didn't know jack about evolution. Darwin wouldn't come around for another 100 plus
Nice,
years.
excellent.
But he intuited that some traits were more important than others. For instance, he was struck by the fact that reproductive apparatus seemed to be a good way of classifying plants. He also caused a bit of a scandal by classifying class Mammalia based on the female abilities to produce milk from their nipples, because apparently that was pretty racy stuff back then. In his lifetime, Linnaeus cataloged roughly 7,700 plants and 4,400 animals. He published his classifications in a catalog called Systema Naturae.
Yeah, and so Charlie's Dragon says, was it based on if they were related or categorized more on abilities like flying animals? So back in the day, before Linnaeus and Buffon, living things were kind of classified based on just arbitrary stuff. Oh, can it fly? Is it green? Stuff like that, you know? What are its vibes like is what people were asking at the time. And then Linnaeus and Buffon, to a certain extent, started to figure like, oh no, there's better ways to classify things. There's better ways to ask these questions and figure out who's actually more closely related to whom. And Buffon actually did a much better job of this than Linnaeus did, evidently. But yeah. And there you go, Harry Vetch. Yes, Leibniz tried to do a similar thing too. Yes.
Which by the time he wrote its 12th edition was 2,300 pages long. In the meantime, Linnaeus actually adopted a personal motto: God created, Linnaeus organized.
So yeah, Linnaeus was not a humble guy. He certainly had a big head. Yeah. Buffon, not so much. Again, this book, it kind of puts Linnaeus in his place to a certain extent. The one that I was telling you about, Every Living Thing. And it talks about how Buffon was long before old Chucky D, long before Darwin. Buffon had started to kind of outline the idea of common descent and evolution. And he died before it was completed. But he was getting there, you know? And Linnaeus was completely against the idea of evolution, as were most people at the time. So Linnaeus was very wrong about this. But yeah.
Although taxonomy has come a long way since Linnaeus, we still use a bunch of the conventions that he invented. For instance, we still arrange things into taxa, or groups of organisms, and we still use the same taxa as Linnaeus: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. We also still use Linnaeus's convention of binomial nomenclature, using a unique two-part name for every species.
So this is like Homo sapiens, or Tyrannosaurus rex, or here. This is a running joke in the Coyote and Roadrunner cartoons. There we go. Again, these are jokes. Yeah. So here they actually got it right, and I guess they give it a subspecies too. But anyway, the species name is never capitalized. The genus name always is. An aloe vera or boa constrictor. There you go, Sarandlin. Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, those are jokes there, but Latin binomials, we still use this today, and it was Linnaeus who came up with the system in the first place.
The genus and its species name in Latin, or sort of Latin-ish. This practice actually started back in the Middle Ages, when educated people were expected to know Latin. We know a lot less Latin now, but we know a lot more about evolution, which Linnaeus didn't. And we have technologies like genetic testing to classify relationships between organisms, and yet we still use Linnaeus's morphology-based system because genetic evidence generally agrees with classifications that are made based on structure and form. However, because there was a lot of life that Linnaeus had no idea about, we had to stick a new taxa above Linnaeus's kingdom. We call it domain, and it's as broad as you can get. The domains are bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. The bacteria and the archaea are prokaryotes, meaning that their genetic material goes commando with no nucleus to enclose it, while the eukarya make up all of the life forms with a nucleus. And
anyway, so here's some of the details here, but let's get down to like genus and species and family. Oh, I guess he's going to go through each of these different kingdoms. Fungi, protists, animals, etc. Anyway, I'll give you a link to this so you can watch the rest of it if you would like to. There you go. Yeah. And Canis latrans, exactly, Neverwinter, yeah. So let's jump to that. El coyote. The coyote. The coyote with all his accoutrements. There we go. Canis latrans there. Sister taxon to the Ethiopian wolf, and the gray wolf and domestic dog. So yeah, you go back a little over 1 million years ago, and all three of these critters, the wolf, the coyote, and the Ethiopian wolf, they all shared a common ancestor, so they all came from the same species. Just over 1 million years ago, there was one species that's since split into 3. So all 3 of these guys are closely related. They all come from the same recent ancestor. Makes sense. You see coyotes sometimes go to work. Very cool, Magic Kitty Pixie. I used to see them all the time when I worked in San Francisco. And sometimes they'd just be in the middle of the town, like running down a city street. This is on Ocean Avenue in San Francisco at like 9 in the morning on a Sunday. I think it was a Sunday. This is a coyote just running down the street, you know? Yeah. They're very well adapted to urban environments in a lot of cases. Anyhow. And can't coyotes breed with dogs, coy dogs? Are they sterile? I know coyotes and wolves will interbreed, coy wolves, but I don't know about domestic dogs. Science Streams would be the one to ask about that. Balint, do you know? But that's the thing, is that when 2 species are only recently diverged from one another, sometimes they can have what we call, I think, an introgression, where they, instead of continuing that split, they come back together and hybridize again. Yeah. And Balint, how are you doing? Hello, hello. You're having an excellent time. And, oh, interesting. Oh! I met with these folks at TwitchCon this year. This is super cool. A Humane Society of the United States. They are now Humane World for Animals. Here. Let's see if we can find that clip.
So this is Velia, the Velociraptor.
What's her name?
Velia. Yeah, she's a Velociraptor. So if you've seen Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, you've seen Velociraptors and that. They don't really look like that. They look like this. So, yeah.
This is incredible.
Thank you.
Does she speak or does she?
No,
okay.
she's pretty shy. A kind of dinosaur.
I know.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Working on a project, just getting started with leatherback sea turtles. About that and yeah. So I was telling Chat earlier. Growing up, I thought that the Humane Society was primarily domestic animals, but it looks like you've expanded your mission out to like wildlife in general.
Yes, so
that's
it's a
super
very
cool.
Interesting story.
Yeah.
So we've been around since 1954, and then Humane Society International the past 20-ish years. So Humane Society United States, Humane Society International. This year in February, we actually merged. We do all the
Very
work,
cool.
but it's Humane World for Animals.
Yeah. Very nice. And here's a video from Humane World for Animals.
So this morning we're going to catch our two coyote koi dogs, Amber and Rusty. We're going to be transporting them to the Black Beauty Ranch in Texas.
It's really a shame that we couldn't return them to the wild because we did learn that they are a hybrid species. But on the plus side, it's great that they're going to be going to a 15,000 square foot enclosure.
Wow. 15,000 square feet. That's a lot bigger than the enclosure that I live in. Holy cow. Good for them.
One in the foreground is Amber, and her brother is Rusty.
So again, these are coyote dog hybrids.
So we just finished catching them up. They went really well. It was almost as if they wanted to go. They're actually moved into the van so they can be transported to Texas now.
Super excited to hear from our fellow workers over in Texas to see how they enjoy their new compound, as it's going to be so much larger than the facility that
How many
we
bedrooms and baths? They probably have more than me in airspace. Oh, look at that. Very cool.
We're very excited to see them going to a place where they can spend the rest of their lives in comfort.
Huh. Good stuff. Here is a link to that video right there. Why not just get a dog? This is Bush Doctor. I mean, these were coyote dog hybrids that I think had probably been kept by a person like in captivity, and they just weren't doing well, and so they had to be relocated to a more wild area, in order to lead a happier, healthier life. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. And Petrodactylus says, I briefly worked at a dog daycare, and during my time there was a wolf dog hybrid that was brought in once. Oh, wow. Only the experienced staff were allowed to handle him. Yeah, that's the thing, is that wolves are wild animals. They're very different from dogs in terms of their temperament. On the outside, they might not look that much different, but in terms of the way that they operate, the way that they interact with people and other animals, they're much more wolf-like than they are dog-like in most cases. So they're often not very safe animals to be around. So I'm not surprised that only the experienced folks were able to work with those critters. That makes a lot of sense, Petraclus. Yeah. Kind of looked like if a German Shepherd were wearing a wolf skin. Yeah. So, yeah. Wolf dog hybrids. Yeah, they tend to be very large, like a wolf. And I've heard that, like, you often can't keep them indoors just because they're, it's a half-wild animal. A lot of people think, oh, it'd be really cool, I'm a tough guy. I should have an animal in my house that's wild, like me. And usually this is a very, very bad idea. Don't get me started. Yeah. Aren't they illegal in some states? They are, Petrodactylus, as far as I know. I think California is one of those states. But yeah, Alveus Sanctuary, they have wolf dog hybrids there at the sanctuary, and I think they had to be surrendered because they were in like a home situation. I don't know the details, but I know that those wolf dog hybrids have a very good life nowadays. The fact that they can operate as animal ambassadors to help educate the public about these critters, that's a good gig for those animals. So Alveus does really good work, and yeah, you should check him out if you're not yet familiar with Alveus Sanctuary. Maybe we can find a video real quick. Here we go.
YouTube, welcome to my video. Today I will be giving our newly rescued wolf hybrids their first ice bath today. It should be really fun, and they'll definitely super love it. It looks like it's cloudy and not that hot outside, but it's like 85 degrees. It's just also raining because I live in Texas. Like
Austin, Texas.
I feel like that was a really awkward intro. It's because I'm live. I don't like looking into the camera when I'm live. It was awkward. Okay, rude. Guys, welcome to the wolf enclosure. If you don't know who they are, I'll give you a little rundown, all right? We have 2 wolf dogs that we recently rescued from another facility. The facilities that they were at had a number of USDA violations over the years, and so that zoo has decided to downsize a little bit and change the way that they're operating. That's how we got the 2 of them. They're wolf dogs. You'll notice me saying wolf dogs or wolf hybrids. It's because they're 70 to 80% wolf, probably wolf, and then the rest of it is dog, probably husky or Malamute. We're gonna do DNA tests on them as soon as we can to figure out exactly what they are. They're 10 years old. They can live to be 16 to 17 years old under human care. This enclosure we built just for them. It's very, very special. It's 220 feet by 65 feet.
Much bigger than the enclosure I live in, again.
Here they have a river and a pond. They have 2 dens. The dens
I don't have a river.
Insulated and really, really quiet inside.
My den isn't insulated.
Soundproof, but they're insulated to the point where it's really quiet in there for them. This enclosure is 10 times the size as the last enclosure that they were in, which is really awesome for them. Their names are Awa, A-W-A is the female, and Timber is our male. They're running.
Very cool. Let me see if I can find, does she talk about captivity? I'm just gonna do a few keyword searches. Come on, YouTube. Oh, these searches take forever now because they have all this AI crud that they've shoehorned into everything that nobody asked for. Let's see.
So one of the reasons that we have the wolves is 1, to teach people about the importance of wolves in the wild. You can keep it on them. And 2, to teach people about why these aren't pets. Their situation is a little sad being hybrids because they will never be releasable because they don't naturally occur in the wild. They've been in captivity their whole lives. They were born in captivity, raised in captivity. So they're not release candidates. But then also, these are not animals that could be in your home. It would pose pretty crazy risk to you to have one of these like as a pet. So they're in this weird limbo where they have to be in an enclosure like this or at a facility like this. I will say our facility, because of you guys, is super lucky to be able to provide them with such an insane enclosure that provides for as many of their needs as we can. But a lot of animals that are bred to be hybrids like this are not as lucky. These guys are about 75 pounds, and they are very, very anxious around people. We don't know much about their history. We were told very, very little when they came here. So we don't know how much time they've spent around people, but we can assume it's not that much because they are very shy. They are both fixed.
Anyway, I'll give you a link. But Alveus Sanctuary does excellent work. Can we give them another shout out real quick? Yeah. Anyhow, cool stuff. So the reason why you can have, well, I should rephrase that so people don't misunderstand. The reason why it's possible to create a wolf domestic dog hybrid is because so recently did they share a common ancestor. Less than a little over 1 million years ago, you had domestic dogs. No, hang on. No, way less than that. What am I saying? It's something like 100,000 years ago or less. Gray wolves and domestic dogs split. In fact, it's complicated. Anytime we're talking about canids, the dog family, it gets tricky because their phylogeny is kind of a mess, as I understand it. But anyway, domestic dogs are the descendants of gray wolves, And I don't know if it was one discrete time, if there were a bunch of different times the dogs were domesticated from their wolf ancestors. But anyway, dogs are essentially a group nested within gray wolves as a species, kind of. Again, it's complex, and you should really talk to like a canid biologist about this kind of thing. I work on dinosaurs. This is not my area of expertise. But that's the reason why you can have hybrids between these two species, is because they shared a recent common ancestor. 30,000 years ago. Only 30K is the most recent estimate I've heard for domestication of dogs. Wow, Charlie's Dragon. That's surprising. I didn't realize it was that recently. Yeah. And yeah, so Havoc Heart, domestic dogs used to be called Canis familiaris, but because things get kind of complicated in the dog family, and because they come directly from gray wolves, I think that term has kind of fallen out of favor. So, a good place to check would be Wikipedia. Domestic dog. So, Canis familiaris or Canis lupus familiaris. The thing is, this kind of bends our definition of what a species is, because this is like a weird subbreed of wolves that has since become tremendously diverse due to, in morphology at least, due to selective breeding. So, like, we've done such weird things with dogs that, like, we could call them a different species from wolves, but it was only like 30,000 years ago that they were domesticated, and is that really, does that proffer new species status already that soon? It depends on whom you ask, you know? So, yeah. Anywho. Yeah. And Charlie's Dragon makes a really good point. Remember that Homo sapiens, our own species, human beings, we only left Africa 60 to 70,000 years ago. And domesticated dogs halfway through that time. 3 times as long as agriculture and other domestication. It's still very impressive. It is, yeah. Yeah. So anywho, it's interesting stuff. I'm sure I'm going to be seeing some presentations at SVP this year about the dog family, about fossils, maybe even some stuff about their domestication. That might kind of be more on the zooarchaeology side rather than the paleontology side, but who knows? These are adjacent fields oftentimes, and they can kind of bleed into one another. That sounds gross. Bleed into one another. They can merge into one another. There's some cross-pollination for sure. And let's take a look at... Let's shift gears a little bit. Oh, and Sarah's Rainbow says, are hyenas related to dogs? They are not. Oddly enough, hyenas are not related to dogs. Even though they look like dogs? No. They are part of Feliformia, so they're more closely related to cats. Here, I'll show you on our Tree of Life. Again, here's our gray wolf and domestic dog. Here's the dogs, raccoon dogs, wolves, foxes, and more. This is Canidae, the dog family. Then you have the dog-like carnivorans. So let's do a search here for hyena. And let me show you. They are not part of the dog-like carnivorans. Spotted hyenas are right here. They are part of Feliformes, the cat-like carnivorans. So even though a hyena might look superficially like a dog, they are not related to dogs. They are not close relatives of dogs. They are much more closely related to cats. And to things like goodness. Mongoose? Are mongoose also cat-like carnivorans? Civets are... Yeah, meerkats and mongoose are also cat-like carnivorans. Yeah. There you go. You are not the father. There you go, big hairy Nevis. Yes. Yes. Yeah. 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 And Skittlesour says, why did the canids not develop to be as big and powerful as the felines did? Felids, yeah. Some of them kind of did. You had things like bear dogs and the bone-crushing dogs, the borophagines. Oh, you search bear dog and it comes up with this. It's not what we're talking about.
Still, I can see that
Reganation.
50,000 a year has been well spent.
21 months at Tier 3 now, Reganation.
07.
Thank you so much for your ongoing support, keeping me here online, Reganation. I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, there are these critters called the Amphicyonids, the bear dogs, and they got pretty big, I think. Yeah, they were, some of them got fairly large, like tiger-sized or bigger. So yeah, yeah. Yeah. And they are, I don't know if they're part of the dog family, but they're closer to dogs than they are to cats, obviously. Yeah. So they were big. This is during the Neogene period, so during the Age of Mammals. And they were eating things like camels and stuff. Is it a dog or a bear? I can barely tell the difference. There you go, Petrodactylus. So Amphicyonids are related to dogs. They're part of Caeniformia, the dog-like carnivorans. But I don't know where they fall out exactly. Specifically, where do they belong on the tree? Not sure we know 100%. Yeah, they're a whole family, I guess, within Caeniformia. Early paleontologists usually define them as members of Canidae, the dog family, or Ursidae, the bear family. But the modern consensus is that they form their own family. Some researchers have defined it as the sister clade to ursids, so they'd be the closest relatives of bears, based on the anatomy of their ears. However, cladistic analysis and reclassification of several species of early carnivores, Amphicyonids, has strongly suggested that maybe basal caeniforms, a lineage older than the origin of both bears and dogs. So bears and dogs would be more closely related to each other than either is to the Amphicyonids, the bear dogs, if that's the case. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Anyhow, there's gonna be... I can do a search real quick. In the SVP abstract volume, which is now public. I'm not gonna be showing the abstracts, but let me just see how many times that keyword appears in the abstract volume here. One. Okay. Okay, I guess we don't have any presentations on them this year, but that's, Huh. It's not a very speciose group. So it's not shocking, I guess. Contrast that with, Dermachelyidae. 14 hits for, Dermachelyidae. Holy cow. So yeah, I'm gonna be talking to some leatherback researchers at SVP, which is really cool. I'm excited about that. Anyhow, well, yeah. But here, first, again, I'm going to be gone after today for 2 whole weeks. We're going to be missing 2 weeks of paleontologizing streams, but I promise you this is for a very good reason. Tomorrow morning I'm going to be leaving for England. I'm going to the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology Conference. This is our big meeting for paleontologists who study animals with bones every year. And so I'm going to be presenting some research there. I'll show you my poster in a little bit. And this is the sort of thing that I need to do in order to keep up on the latest and greatest findings in fossil science, particularly vertebrate paleontology. I'm going to be making lots of connections with fellow researchers, finding new people to interview, maybe finding new fieldwork to do live on stream, all kinds of stuff like this. So I know I'm going to be gone for 2 whole weeks, and this will be the longest time that I've gone without streaming since I started on Twitch back in 2020. This will be our longest hiatus ever. But I promise you it's going to be worth it. The Society of Vertebrate Paleontology is... Well, here, I'll play a little video, and I'm going to go run to the bathroom real quick. I will be right back. Check it out. This is put together... This is on the channel of like a videographer / editor. So he's kind of advertising, here's what I can do video-wise. But this also gives you a little bit of a window into what what SVP is all about. Be right back.
Hello, I'm Sam Waterston, and I'm here to applaud the work of vertebrate paleontologists as they reveal the evidence for environmental change, adaptation, and extinction. This is a rare opportunity to view the inside story of the extraordinary world of paleontologists, who they are, what they do, why what they do is important for science and society. That is to say, what their work means for us. And now let's join the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology.
Hi, my name is Louis Jacobs, and I'm one of 2,300 vertebrate paleontologists from 54 countries that belong to the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology. Because we study fossils, especially dinosaurs, we capture the imagination of children, and that makes vertebrate paleontology a gateway for all science. Here are some of the faces of the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology today.
I'm Mike Novacek.
我叫罗泽西.
Jack Horner, ditch digger. Glorified ditch digger.
Jack, my old boss.
Bob Bakker. Claudia Marcicano, la Universidad de Buenos Aires.
Eu sou Otávio Mateus, da Universidade Nova de Lisboa.
Jennifer Bertha Brink.
I'm Paul Sereno.
Paul Sereno. We just interviewed him yesterday.
Tyler Leeson. I'm 24 years old.
Each year, vertebrate paleontologists from all over the world.
Hang on a second. Reaganation? What is this? Holy cow, thank you for the donation there, Reaganation. I appreciate that tremendously. You just bought me, like, 10 meals. Really appreciate that, Reaganation. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate that deeply. And when somebody makes a donation on Ko-Fi, I don't always spot it right away. Like, there was one from Art Thresh. Art Thresh, thank you, today. And one yesterday from Patchwork Pirate, a recurring one. I don't always spot them right away, but they make a big difference to me because, well, things like gifting subs and cheering with bits on Twitch, while that's wonderful, and I'm always deeply grateful to have that. It's a big deal. That's really good for my standing on this platform. Twitch takes a cut of those, obviously. With Ko-Fi, they don't take any overhead. No, nothing cut out. All that money goes direct to what I do here. thank you, Reganation. I appreciate that tremendously. Thank you very, very much. Excellent.
Really spectacular. Spared no expense.
And thank you, Reganation, for gifting Geeks Tour. 3 months of Tier 1 to Geeks Tour there.
Reganation gifted 3 months.
I appreciate that, Reganation.
They've gifted 372 months.
Holy cow. In fact, I feel like this requires some applause here. Thank you, Reganation. And hang on, Urgle Wurgle, what is this right here? I gotta refresh the page. Oh, sorry, Anonymous. Holy cow, thank you. Have a good time at SVP. I appreciate that, Anonymous. / Urgle Wurgle, or... It's a Ko-Fi train, apparently. Holy cow. Appreciate that more than you know. Very generous of you, Anonymous. That is stellar. Happy belated birthday from September. Thank you, Top Trike. I appreciate that. Yeah, that is phenomenal. Thank you for that. Here, cheers. Appreciate this very much. Let's get some more applause going here, actually. Thank you. Excellent. No, honestly, I've been thinking about how expensive this trip is. I got a screaming deal on a flight and pretty decent deal on hotels and stuff. Man, that's still a lot of money out of pocket. And I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks, so I'm not gonna be making money here on Twitch either. So this is kind of a big pay cut. Thank you for make up for that, Reganation and Anonymous. I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you very, very much. Got you home.
In all the world,
thank you.
there are fewer than 40 full-time dinosaur paleontologists.
Ariana Celestine, 5 gift subs there. Thank you.
3 of them
Splendid.
are leading this expedition.
Ariana Celestine just gifted 5 subs.
Spectacular. Ariana Celestine, thank you. There's 5 very lucky chatters. Won't have to worry about a single ad for the next month. Thank you. Good stuff. And Andrew Holding, thanks for
The search for dinosaur bones begins in a place like this.
Andrew Holding's search has succeeded with their 4 co-explorers.
Welcome to Paleontologizing, Andrew Holding and Raiders. How are you doing? It's good to have you here. I hope you had a really good broadcast. Matt Trumpets, heyo to you too. Good evening to you also, Andrew Holding. Hang on just a second. Oh, Lordy. Any, yeah, is it here yet? Oh, excellent. Thank you. All right. Brilliant.
That gives the history of life its
Chaotic,
very
thank you.
quirky, fortuitous, chancy character. We are literally here only because of the good fortune
Hello everyone.
of dinosaur extinction.
Paleo Dance, Paleo
Thank you,
Elvis,
Chaotic
Paleo
Kitten,
Science, Shake Paleo Wild
for the 7
West,
months of
Paleo
support
Hill.
there. Thanks for keeping me here online for that long. I appreciate you. And Dino Dax, make sure you try a Greg's. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. Old Greg, yeah. Bailey's, creamy.
These plant eaters or herbivores
I think I will.
have as many as 2,000 teeth in their jaws at one time.
And Blockman's Mustard, thank you so much for the
Thelen 16 Plotchy.
39 months there. Thank you, Blockman's Mustard. I appreciate that very much. Yeah. Now what? I'm joking here. What is a Greg's? Greg's Restaurant? Rhode Island tradition? Oh, sausage roll. Okay. Vegan sausage roll. Oh, I would love to try this. I will put this on my list. Thank you, Dinotax. Yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to this now. Yeah, excellent. I've been told that it's much easier to be a vegetarian in the UK than it is here in the US. There's just a lot more options, and we had to put in lunch orders from a couple of restaurants for the SVP field trips, and they've got like a whole vegetarian menu. I'm not used to that here in the US. Occasionally you'll see that in like San Francisco, near where I live, but rarely in other parts of the country. And in the UK, apparently that's just standard, which is awesome. Yeah. Pretty good with the veggie stuff, so I've heard, Niffler, yeah. I hear there's even like a little V icon, like on packaged foods in the grocery stores. Sorry, in the shops, I should say. But yeah. Yeah. Jealous of the UK veggie options, says Flannel Fantasy. I'm eager to report back and tell everybody how it is. But yeah, excellent. Thank you, Dino Dax. I appreciate that. Brilliant. Yeah. Where were we? Oh yeah. We were talking about SVP, the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting, and that's super awesome, Alex Vixen. I can't wait. Yeah.
Each year, vertebrate paleontologists from all over the world gather at the annual meeting to share new knowledge and ideas. There were 655.
So that's the abstract volume right there, which I was showing you earlier. This year it is 688 pages. And I'll show you my presentation in a minute, but Kindred Soul, thank you. Holy cow. Thank you kindly. And Magic Kitty Pixie. Thank you very much. That's a monthly one. Thank you, Magic Kitty Pixie. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Kindred Soul says, say hi to Dr. Alice Roberts in the UK. Hang on. That name sounds familiar. She doesn't work on lungfish, does she? Am I thinking of the correct person? And holy cow, Ariana Celestine, thank you for the 10 gift subs. Phenomenal.
10 gift subs.
Thank you for those 10 gift subs. 10 lucky chatters won't have to worry about any ads for next month. And look how excited this... Oh, shoot. How excited that Tinamou bird is. Excellent. Don't worry, he's okay. Don't worry about him. Ariana Celestine, thank you for the 10 gift subs there. Superb. Really appreciate that. And Kindred Soul, Dr. Alice Roberts. Is she, English academic, TV presenter, and author. Oh, interesting. University of Birmingham. Oh, cool. I don't know if she's going to be at the meeting or not. But,
Virgil is overloading
awesome.
the system with
Virgil Wargle, thank you for those 10 gift subs. Extraordinary. Thank you very, very much. And again, look at this excited Tinamou bird. Not again. He's okay. And duck, that's not a duck there, Raven, that's a tinamou. Well, she does the Digging for Britain series, which is on Time Team. Interesting, Miggity Marty. Okay. Alice Roberts. I might be thinking of a different Alice. Oh, was she involved with the Mary Anning statue? Which I'll be seeing in just a few days? Professor Alice Roberts was there at the unveiling. Well, well, well. I wonder if we see her in the video that we were looking at last week.
And thank you, everybody.
So Mary Anning here is sometimes called the mother of paleontology. We've got several images of her up on the wall today. She's in many ways kind of the patron saint of early paleontology. Yeah, and in May of 2022, in her hometown of Lyme Regis, there was a statue unveiled in her honor. And I'm going to be visiting this in just a couple days. It might be like Monday or something.
This campaign, I know that we've got many supporters here this afternoon. The beautiful veil is about
Is this Alice Roberts here?
So, happy birthday, Mary Anning. Welcome back to Lyme Regis. Go for it.
I'm going to do my best to photogrammetrize this statue. Make a digital model that I can 3D print, because I think that would be really, really cool. And get a nice selfie. Yeah, the Raven. Some more photographs of this statue. Very cool, Michael T. Mayer. Very cool. Love a figure of that on my shelf too. I will, if I'm able to make a 3D model, I need to make a Sketchfab account or something so I can share these models that I have. So you'll be able to download it and 3D print it yourself if you'd like to. A resin print would be awesome, Lenina, yeah. For the perfect, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Ammonites from Lyme Regis. Oh, very cool, Lawrence. Awesome. I might get to find some ammonites of my own. We'll see. Anyway, very cool. Very much looking forward to paying homage to Mary Anning and her statue in Lyme Regis. It's going to be excellent. Here's a link to that video. There we go. I gotta think about... I need to figure out how to post Twitch stories. Here, I should ask, does anybody here in the audience right now watch Twitch stories at all, or see these? I've looked at a couple, and they're mostly stills, but I want to do some videos and stuff, potentially. Twitch stories, how does it work? Here, let's take a look at this.
We're gonna take a look on how to use Twitch stories on your mobile phone. I have an Android phone, so it could be a little different if you do have an Apple phone.
Hey,
so
Amazonian,
your
welcome,
app
welcome.
is up to date to be able to use this feature. Here at the top, we see multiple people that have posted stories. If I click on mine, we can see my story, or not.
I'm gonna be gone for 2 whole weeks,
We have
so...
90 views and 12 reactions, and we can see what kind of reactions those
Oh,
are.
cool.
5
Okay, people
love
can
bleak
react.
purple. We can also view some.
I've never looked into this before.
Like Steph, for example. Twitch stories, yeah. We can react on it.
Oh, hey! I met her! I was hanging out with her at TwitchCon this year. Oh, what is her name? Steph of Anime. Yeah, we were on a panel together, or like a roundtable event. We were both speaking at that. Yeah, she's really cool. I got to hang out with her at TwitchCon.
By clicking on the emote.
Can we get a shout out for Steph of Anime here? Yeah, cool. You met her too? Awesome. How to do it? Nice.
And then react something, bleed purple, and it will give this animation over the screen. We can also still change it by clicking on it again and clicking on something else.
So anyway, I'm gonna figure out how to use the whole Twitch Stories thing, and here's a link to this video as well. Thank you, Cinderella, for those 5 gift subs there. Really appreciate that.
Really wants ukulele with those 5 gift subs.
Thank you, Cinderella. I appreciate that. Also, don't watch stories, says Sibley. I wanna, let's do a quick poll actually. I'd be curious. Yeah. Do you ever look at which stories? Yes. Let's see. Yes, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. Let's start a poll and see what people say. Just curious about this. Rarely and never are, well, never is in the lead right now. Since I'm not going to be streaming for 2 whole weeks, I figure I should be doing something. I'll be posting to Blue Sky, maybe Instagram. I got to start posting on Instagram. It's been like 2 years almost. So far, nobody says that they often look at Twitch stories. Shoot. Okay, well, I'm gonna be doing that just because why not? While I'm in the UK, while I'm not streaming. Yeah. But now I will, says Pate B. Well, there you go. Yeah. Never, with 63% of the vote. 0 people said they often look at Twitch stories. 4 people said sometimes, 5 people said rarely. Good to know. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna be trying that out. The whole Twitch stories thing. Yeah. Just looking at my notifications on Blue Sky. Look at Wassel here. I managed to get it in 4 thanks to my greater ignorance. Moops! Hard says moops! Wassel, you deserved yourself a follow. That's really good. Yeah. Thank you to... It's loading. Niffler, thank you very much. If you get to meet Dean Lomax, says Niffler, and I certainly will, I demand a photo of you two. I think he'll be hyped about your science outreach. He's written some fantastic children's books. It's a shame you won't get to visit Wales whilst here. I would love to visit Wales. My mom talks about how my maternal grandfather is part Welsh. But yeah. Enjoy your trip, and we welcome you to the UK. I really appreciate that, Niffler. Thank you, thank you. Good stuff. Thank you very, very much. Excellent. I'm gonna put that on my list, actually. Let's see. Dean Lomax photo. Statue. Good stuff. Great. Yeah. Have a great conference with your SVP peeps. Thank you, Sipsa. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah. And Wolvulus asks a brilliant question. This is one of the things I presented on an SVP last year, so you're asking the right guy. Yes. That was the question I was answering with one of my presentations at SVP last year. You'll find that should be in SVP 2024. There we go. The title of my presentation was Examining the Pace of Dinosaur Discovery. So I was looking at all of the new dinosaur species and genera that have been published over the past decade up until October of 2024. And so right here we've got the number from each year 2015 to 2024. On average, we had 381 new genera or species published over the past 10 years, 38.1 new taxa per year, or one new genus and species less than every 10 days. Every 9.58 days we've had a new dinosaur genus or species. And this year, we've had, well, we're on track to beat the record, I think. Look, our record for the past decade was 2019 with 47, right here. 47 new dinosaur genera and species in 2019. And how many do we have so far this year? Let's take a look. Ashishlosaurus is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hang on, I glanced away and lost count. Again, I'm a paleontologist, not a mathematician. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. 43 new dinosaur genera and species just so far this year. So, 43 this year. We're not even at the end of the year yet. So, how many weeks are we into 2025? We are currently on week... This is so frustrating. Google results used to just put a web page at the top, and now there's this AI overview thing, which is confusing and irrelevant. This is not what I was asking. So we're on week number 45. This used to be the top result for this search, but then they keep stuffing AI nonsense into everything and just making everything less intuitive and more garbage. Here. 45 divided by 52 equals 0.86. So we can divide that by 43. No, hang on. I'm doing this backwards again. Not a mathematician. Bear with me. 52 divided by 45. 1.15 times 43. So if we continue at the current pace for the rest of the year, we will tie the record for 45 new dinosaur genera and species. We'll see whether we come in under that, or at that figure, or if we exceed it. Yeah. Pretty good stuff. Yeah. The record is 49, Top Trike. Yeah. Anyway, and I've tried the minus AI thing and it hasn't worked. Kino Wolf. Like, try it again. Minus AI. Oh. Oh, does it work now? Oh, ho, 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 ho. Excellent. I'm gonna start doing that for everything. Thank you, Kino Wolf. Beautiful. I tried it before and it didn't work for some reason. I feel like I tried this just a couple weeks ago and it didn't work. Yeah, brilliant. They have a genuine option to turn off AI answers. I don't think they're going to have that in Chrome. I used to have an add-on that was associated with uBlock Origin that would automatically hide all the AI garbage, and then they got rid of that. Yeah. Filippo, Dyson Dinosaur, thank you for the 29 months of support there, Dyson Dinosaur.
Ontogeny.
Phenomenal.
I'm excited for SVP. You are excited for SVP. Everybody
is excited for SVP. Yes, indeed. Filippo, can't wait to meet you there in person finally. It's gonna be awesome. But, yeah. Oh, man. Here, back to SVP here.
There we go. I'm 24 years old.
Each year, vertebrate paleontologists from all over the world gather at the annual meeting to share new knowledge and ideas. There were 655 presentations at the 2007 meeting.
655 presentations. How many are there this year, I wonder? Here's the abstract volume for this year. Do we have, like, an intro or something that lists the number of abstracts? Presentation policies. Social media guidelines. This is the reason why nobody's going to be streaming SVP 2025. That's prohibited. But I'm going to be having some conversations with other people in SVP leadership about potentially setting up a, like, maybe a streamable space at the conference next year where people can talk about their work. I'm going to see if maybe I can set up a booth for that. And that way we could have people coming in and talking about this. It would mean that I would have to miss some talks and stuff, which would be unfortunate. But a streaming safe room, there you go, Murph. Yeah. We'll see. Because I think that would be neat. But imagine having a little panel place like in Comic-Con, organizing small web events. Exactly. Yeah. That would be really neat. So I'm going to be talking with some folks about that. Just gotta testing the water, seeing if people would be amenable to that idea. But to give everybody a sense of what SVP is all about, here's a video. They must have gotten special permission to do this. This is, what, 2 years ago? So this would have been 2023? This was the SVP that I missed. This was in Cincinnati. I missed this one because it happened to be the same exact weekend as TwitchCon. This is TwitchCon Las Vegas. And, yeah, I had to make a difficult decision. Do I want to spend thousands of dollars to go to the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting and present research there? Or do I want to go to TwitchCon, where as a Twitch partner and as a member of, like a presenting member of a panel, they were going to comp my ticket and some other stuff, so it'd be much, much, much less expensive. A few $100 as opposed to thousands of dollars. I went to TwitchCon instead. That was when we had our Science on Stream panel, which was really cool. I don't regret that decision, but it was unfortunate I had to make that choice. So this was an SVP that I missed, but here, take a look.
There is no doubt that COVID has changed global operations on every level. For over 2 years, many in-person events have been canceled, rescheduled, or moved to online platforms. In this new world of work from home, hybrid courses, and virtual meetings, some scientific societies are starting to return to in-person events. But with all of the advances in digital conferencing technologies, why meet in person?
And Top Trike says, can I go as a math and physics student? Absolutely you can, yeah. SVP is open to the public. You still have to register, and it can be kind of expensive if you're not an SVP member. But yeah, that's actually one of the things that I'm going to be talking with other folks in SVP leadership about, is how do we encourage more people from the general public to attend the meeting? Because especially if folks are paying a little extra to do that as non-SVP members, that can help subsidize things for everybody else, you know? I would love to have more media there, more interested members of the public, more avocational paleontologists, more fossil enthusiasts attending the meeting. I think that would be really neat. So it's not like you need to have a secret decoder ring in order to be able to attend SVP. It's not a paleontologist only event. It's just typically paleontologists are the only people who really want to attend. I and a few other people would love to make it so that it's a bit more appealing to members of the public too. Anyhow.
More generally, why do scientists even attend conferences? To fully understand the in-person conference, I came out of hiding, packed my bag, and drove to sunny, or foggy, Toronto for the annual meeting of the Society
Oh, this is Toronto, so this was the year before.
of Vertebrate Paleontology.
Not Cincinnati.
This was the first in-person meeting for the Society since 2019.
And hang on, is this Eugenia Gold? I met her at SVP last year. Pretty sure this is her.
And since that meeting was hosted in Australia, many hadn't attended since 2018, the last time it was in the US.
Huh.
People came from all over the world for different
Very
reasons.
cool. Those
Some
dinosaurs are
attended the
very nice.
conference in person to share the research they're doing and hear what others have found.
What are you hoping to take from this conference?
I want
There they are.
people to learn more about fossil frogs and increase like the knowledge that we have about Central American frogs.
And hey, Palosaurus.
And
Welcome,
get to
welcome.
know different people working in different topics and learn more about what's going on in paleontology.
For younger members of the Society, the face-to-face time is important for networking or finding open jobs.
Deborah, what
there's Deborah.
did you
I've met
come
her
to
before,
present
too.
at this meeting?
So I came to present a talk on using a virtual environment to
Deborah's
supplement field work. You walk around, you have a little avatar, and all the information to build a stratigraphic column, geologic analyses, all that's embedded in the different layers and in different areas. So the kids have to walk around and
Charlie's Dragon says, I thought of going to SVP as an interested amateur, but figured a lot would go over my head. I mean, some of it would, but like, I think you'd be surprised at how much you understand and how much you would get out of it. If it's going to be in Europe at any point, you should consider going, Charlie's Dragon. Yeah. Going to Brussels for something else instead and looking on the iguanodons. Very cool. Very cool.
and find all the information that they need to then complete the larger assignment.
Why do you
Wallets.
come to these meetings? Why do you think other paleontologists, other scientists come to meetings like this?
For me, it's definitely a networking tool. I'm finishing up my PhD, I'm starting to look for jobs, and so for me it really is a time to just talk to a lot of people, get to know a lot of people.
James Napoli had this to add.
James Napoli, we saw him just last week. He is, I think, second author on the Nanotyrannus paper. Yeah, he's becoming a real mover and shaker here. So here he is just a couple years ago.
So my research that I presented on here is broadly speaking about how to tell juvenile dinosaurs apart from one another and to tell what species they belong to. This has been a really big problem in dinosaur paleontology for a very long time. I looked at modern animals and tried to chart how they grew and what kinds of changes occurred during their growth, and then applied that to the fossil record to try to test a lot of hypotheses about which juvenile dinosaurs belong to which species.
What are you hoping to get out of coming to a conference like this, presenting your research, and just being in person?
So being an early career researcher like I am, it's really nice to just be able to meet people at conferences like this, right? Get exposure for my research, try to talk to people about what I'm doing, get their feedback. It's just really, really important, and it's a good way to get people to know who I am.
Echoing a lot of the same
and in
things that
presenting
I've
my work
said.
in particular, I'm
great.
really interested to see what other people think of the solutions to the problems that I've proposed. I don't think everybody's going to agree with me, but I'd be really interested to talk with them about why they don't, to see if we can build something that's even better.
And so this is cool because I've had conversations with James Napoli before about dinosaur ontogeny and dinosaur diversity, and I pretty strongly disagreed with some of the viewpoints that he was presenting, and now because of this new paper that he's published with Lindsay Zano, I might have been completely wrong. And it'd be cool to have a conversation with him about this now, knowing what I know, seeing what he's published. Yeah. I was one of those people who disagreed with him, and looks like he was right and I was wrong. Yeah.
And those types of conversations work out much better in a face-to-face setting.
It's so productive to sit down with somebody over a meal or over a drink or whatever, even if you're just outside of a conference, one of the conference lecture halls, and just chatting about a talk you just saw. It's always so productive to do it in person. So it's a really wonderful opportunity.
These meetings provide opportunities to watch the more experienced members update the crowds on their research. Oh look, there goes Tom Holtz.
Tom Holtz.
I'm sure he'll be talking about tyrannosaurs.
And I'm talking about non-predatory theropods. So.
Wait, what?
So there's no octagon? I mean, no. Although if there were to be one, it would be during a Tyrannosaur talk, I suppose, Kennedy.
What?
Here's, T-Rex over here.
That's better. For many, these conferences are a chance to catch up with old friends and colleagues. As people embedded in academia, once we have our degrees, we mostly scatter across the country or internationally to secure jobs.
Yeah. So that is the social component of SVP is huge, because you might see people, sometimes very good friends, you might see them once a year if you're lucky, and it's often at SVP. If you're not actively traveling to do field work with people, and if you're not doing a lot of museum visits, that kind of thing, this is the social event of the year for a vertebrate paleontologist. Oftentimes our kind of yearly calendar revolves around two different poles. You have the field season, and you have SVP. There's other conferences as well, but SVP, the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology Conference, that's our big global meeting for vertebrate paleontologists. So, again, the calendar of the vertebrate paleontologist, it revolves around SVP and the field season.
Isolation from loved ones and familiar faces.
So many people to see, says Filippo. Yes, yeah. I mean, shoot. With me in particular, I'm really excited to be able to see some of my old friends and colleagues from Museum of the Rockies. A few of them are going to be in attendance. It's tricky because this is an international meeting this year, so a lot of Americans aren't going to be going. But I'll run into a few people from MOR. I might run into probably nobody from the Badlands Dinosaur Museum, unfortunately, this year. Denver and Liz aren't going, to my knowledge. I don't think Steve Clausen is going. I don't think Destiny Wolf is going. but there are a good number of people from Berkeley who are going. So I'll see some friends and colleagues there. People I just saw a few days ago, Tuesday. Yeah, I'm gonna see friends from fieldwork, from Wyoming, and from Utah. I'm gonna see people that I knew back when I was in high school, when I was hanging out at Berkeley, meeting other paleontologists like Jason Head and Sarah Werning, whom I mentioned earlier. Yeah, Karen Poole is gonna be there as well. You remember Karen from Utah Fieldwork. It's cool that, like, I've got a whole bunch of different friend groups from different points in my career, and it's going to be really neat to see them again. Old friends and colleagues like Susumu Tamiya, who was, I think, a grad student when I was a high schooler. So Susumu was at Berkeley when I was in high school. So I'll get to see Susumu again. He's going to be presenting research. Sarah Werning. She was somebody I really admired when I was a high schooler at Berkeley. She does really, really cool stuff. It's just a neat piece of research that she published on. T-Rex had teen pregnancies. Here's a link. And I see a lot of Chinese researchers too. Yeah, Dyson Dinosaur. I'm really excited to meet a few researchers from China whom I've never had the opportunity to meet before. Is Xu Xing gonna be there? Because that would be wonderful to meet him. I don't see him as first author on any of these presentations, so I'm not sure if he's gonna be there. No. But yeah. And Dyson Dinosaur says, I wonder if the venue will change due to actual American madness. Yeah, things are not good right now here in the States. Big paleo conference on invertebrates has been moved from the US to Paris just a week ago. Well, shoot. Man, I was really looking forward to going to the meeting in Cleveland. But we'll see. That's a year from now. There is time to change venues if things continue to get worse here in the States. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Shit, Dinosaur is nice, Filippo. Yeah. But yeah. And yeah, my first SVP was 2013 in Los Angeles. Dinosaur. 2014 was Berlin, right? I had an abstract accepted for that, and I couldn't afford to go. But yeah, Los Angeles was my first SVP, and that was nuts. Like, meeting a lot of these people for the first time, you know, being like, oh shoot, there's Paul Serino, whom we interviewed yesterday. There's Bob Bacher, there's Tom Holtz. Here's people that I know from Berkeley, but here's a bunch of people that I'd only ever seen through a screen before. A television screen. People that I grew up watching in paleontology documentaries. It's an odd feeling to see somebody in person who to you feels like a celebrity, you know? It's kind of wild. Anywho. And Ken says, also, if things get worse, no Americans will be getting out of the country. Oh, God. You're not wrong, Ken, but... Oh, man. I don't want to think about that. But, yeah. Sort of regretting not going, but so be it, says Charlie's Dragon. I mean... I'll do my best to give you a good recap when I come back in 2 weeks. That'll be on the 24th. So the start of Thanksgiving week. Shoot. In fact, let's change that right here. There we go. SVP recap. And here, I gotta make sure that we've got the right font size and everything. No, darn it. There we go. Let's talk. Oop.
This is the Rosetta Stone of meat-eating dinosaurs.
And there is no such a thing as a Rosetta Stone in science.
Loonisaurus, thank you for the 34 months of support. Really appreciate that.
Paleostigo 1, Paleostigo 2K pass
Thank you, Loonisaurus. Keeping me online for the past 34 months. Thank you, Loonisaurus. I appreciate you. Let's talk about exciting news from this year's meeting. I don't know how much news I'll be able to share, given a lot of these things are still embargoed, but you know. Yeah, and then we'll do some Thanksgiving streams here too. A lot of birds are dinosaur stuff. Theropods giving. Shoot, that's not what I was trying to do. Theropods giving. Turkey. There we go. He wasn't wrong about Nanotyrannus. There you go, Ken, yeah. And maybe he was right about the Rosetta Stone thing. I don't know. Anyway, what's your plan until Tuesday, says Dyson Dinosaur? Well, I'm going on a special field trip. There's the Dorset Coast field trip. I'm gonna just barely be able to make it, it looks like. The Exploring the Jurassic Coast World Heritage Site trip. So yeah, good stuff. Really looking forward to this. We're gonna get to go down to Lyme Regis, see where Mary Anning did all of her stuff. It's gonna be incredible. I can't wait. Yeah. I usually don't do them because I'm poor. I get that, Filippo. Yeah. I went on the North Dakota trip last year before SVP, and I said, having done that, I want to do as many of these field trips as I possibly can in the future. And it's...
When aren't fossils on your mind?
Never. Ken says 0. Thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. But yeah. It is expensive, especially to have to like not stream for a week, but it's gonna be worth it, I think. I'm excited. I've been to the Jurassic Coast many times. Very cool, Michael Mayer. I can't wait. Anyway, let's get back to the video here and continue talking about SVP a bit.
Beyond what we all experienced with COVID. I managed to catch up with Steve Brusati, who had this to say.
Well, the meeting so far has been really fun. It'll continue to be because I have a lot of students and postdocs.
There's Sky McDavid in the background.
That I work with in
Recognize
Edinburgh
her.
and colleagues around the world that are presenting lots of cool research, you know, that I'm a small part of a lot of these projects, but it's just really cool to see all this new science being presented
Pretty
for
amazing.
the first
Yeah,
time.
Phoenix, I can't
Nothing
wait.
better than,
Yeah.
you know, seeing your students and your postdocs getting up in front of big crowds and talking about their research with such enthusiasm.
Some at the conference are ensuring that each meeting is more inclusive
I
than
think
the last.
Spencer is going to be there
Kelsey
too, isn't
Stilson
he?
is a postdoctoral researcher and the chair of the diversity committee.
I'm here to kind of
Here.
promote a diverse and equitable.
Hang on just a second. Let me, let's check that abstract volume and see if Spencer is going to be in attendance. Is he presenting anything? And is Fisher presenting anything? Oh, shoot. Okay, Spencer's thing does not appear in here. There we go. Fisheries? No. Fishers? No. Fisheries? Fisheries. Shoot. Okay. Doesn't look like Fisher's going to be gone. My son will not be in attendance, unfortunately.
Each meeting is more inclusive than the last. Kelsey Stilson is a postdoctoral researcher and the chair of the diversity committee.
I'm here to kind of promote a diverse and equitable society. There's been a lot of systemic issues within paleontology, and that needs to be recognized in order for us to go forward. There's all these different dimensions of diversity that we normally don't think of, and we want other people to have their voice shown too. So here in the diversity committee, we have lots of different events that we hold, like the Roundtable Forum, where people can come and learn about all these different aspects of paleontology or furthering their careers. So we're trying to get different voices from all over paleontology. And part of that is making room for those voices. You might not ever understand someone's lived experience, but that doesn't mean that you don't accept it. The understanding comes with time. Acceptance can come before understanding. What we learn if we talk to each other, we have a lot more in common when we're all experiencing, we're all struggling, and we just don't know it.
But is attending the conference just about networking and research? Or is there some other charm to it being in person?
My name is Stuart Samita.
Yeah, Stuart is our new president of SVP as of last year. So really excited to have some conversations with Stuart. Especially now that I'm joining the communications committee.
A professor of biology at the California State University in San Bernardino, and I'm the incoming vice president for the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology.
Again, this was what, 2022? He's president now. Really excited to see what Stuart does.
What's the purpose of scientific conferences like this?
Well, a lot of people would tell you the scientific conferences are for us to get together, share our research, talk about the latest events in our field, which it is, don't get me wrong, but it's much, much more than that. One of the things that happens in a scientific conference is that you interact with other people. You don't just talk to them, okay? You interact with them, and so conferences are gathering places. They're places of serendipity. Just today, for example, I was looking at a specimen with a colleague. We couldn't figure out what it was. I saw another colleague walk by and I asked him, "Do you have any idea what this is?" He looked at it and he says, "Oh my goodness, where did you get that?" Neither of them knew one another. But suddenly, because we were all together in the same place, now there's a collaboration between two people that never would have happened otherwise. Those are the kinds of things that happen when people gather and they communicate about their passions.
Dyson Dinosaur says, "Gotta go now, Danny. Looking forward to meet you."
These are
Likewise,
just some of the
Filippo.
questions that people ask about dinosaurs.
And Domino99 Designs, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Filippo, Dyson Dinosaur, I can't wait to meet you. Yeah, I hope you have a safe and smooth trip as well. And I'll see you in Birmingham, man. Oh man, I can't wait.
That's really what happened. And they communicate about their passions. That's really what happens at conferences. People of similar passion come together.
And what are you hoping to get out of this conference, SVP specifically?
I get to see people that I care about, people who are of similar interest, people who my son likes to say are as nerdy as me, right? But we also are helping to support the profession of vertebrate paleontology. And let's face it, vertebrate paleontology is one of the most popular of sciences. We are the hook, along with oceanography and marine biology, that brings people into science.
And space science, too. But yeah, absolutely.
So we have a huge responsibility to maintain and advance our science, because we're the gateway science for young people throughout the world.
These conferences are vital for advancing the sciences. From sharing our official findings and catching up with old friends, to serendipitous moments in hallways between presentations. Each of these moments create connections. Not only are these important for our individual mental health.
Oh, there's Andy Farkey here. Yeah. We met Andy at his museum in Claremont, California last September.
And more so in these highly isolating years, but also crucial for building the scaffolding on which we create our ideas. Personally, after many years of stagnating seclusion, the meeting refreshed my perspective on research and refilled my emotional cup.
There we go.
Until next time, SVP.
Excellent. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you, Henny, again. Very cool. Here's a link to that video right there. And Kensei Zero says, I used to be super into space science. More robotics now, but it's all still cool? Absolutely. And there's a lot of overlap between robotics and space science, as you well know. You know, people putting together rovers and, you know, like semi-autonomous robots to explore the surface of other planets like Mars and stuff like that. Space probes go to the very limits of our solar system. In the same way, there's a lot of overlap between different aspects of biology and geology and paleontology. Different scientific fields have a way of cross-pollinating, especially nowadays. It's all so much more integrative than it used to be, and that can yield really, really cool results. Yeah. And Mayor of Space, I love this. Mayor of Space says, I do stagehand work setting up the AV equipment for conferences and conference halls all over Orlando. Very cool. I didn't know this, Mayor of Space. I'm seeing stuff in the backgrounds of all these videos that are very familiar. The wires over those doors shouldn't be dangling like that. They should be gaff taped down. See, the unsung heroes of a lot of conferences like this are the people who set up the audio-video equipment. Yeah, and oftentimes, like, I have seen this firsthand, how sometimes, like, an AV person who's working there at the venue, they can absolutely save the day. Like, somebody realizes, like, oh, shoot, I brought the wrong flash drive that doesn't have my presentation on it, and it's gonna be, I need to present this in 45 minutes, what do I do? And, like, the AV people are like, okay, meet me here at this time, bring the flash drive with your presentation, we'll get it loaded remotely, we'll do this, we'll do that. There are so many different times that disaster has been averted because some hardworking, clever, dedicated person who's not part of the conference, they're not a presenting researcher or anything, they're staff who are working there at the venue. They completely saved the day. So salute to you, Mayor of Space, and everybody like you, who make sure that these conferences run as smoothly as they can when you've got a bunch of absent-minded academics stumbling around. The unsung heroes, yes indeed, Golganik. Yeah. Really cool. I didn't know that about you, Mayor Space. But I guess that makes sense. I can totally see that. Yeah. Yeah. All science is cool in its own way? Absolutely, Kensei. Absolutely. The real MVPs. Check on the time, 4:41. We should think about starting up Thursday Birds Day pretty soon here. First, let's take a look at this other video here. I haven't seen this one before. Symbolizing SVP.
Discoveries. It's time to reflect on another iconic image.
So here's John Long here, who is really well-known Australian vertebrate paleontologist. He works on fossil fishes, chondrichthyan fishes like sharks.
The Society's logo. Who created it? And what are the symbols that it signifies?
Oh, awesome.
I'd like to introduce Matt Colbert.
My grandfather. So, this is the grandson of Ned and Margaret Colbert. Huh. By the way, this is the SVP logo. I've got it on my wall today. I need to do like a 3D printed version of that. I think that would be really cool to have. Especially when we're doing interviews associated with SVP.
My father was a curator at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City, and my grandmother was a scientific illustrator who illustrated many of the books and fossils that he described. After the Society of Vertebrate
Thank you,
Paleontology was
Alexander. I
established,
appreciate
they realized that
that.
it needed a logo to
Really looking
symbolize
forward
the
to it.
society. And my grandfather brought back the task to my grandmother, who settled upon some elements that she thought were emblematic of the field as a whole.
Ned and Margaret lived in New Jersey with their sons. Margaret.
What is up with these closed captions? Hang on a second. Vietnamese auto-generated. Nope. Auto-translate maybe to English? It's in English, though. I don't know what's going on with... Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Did her art on the back
Sorry.
terrace. All the while the children would be running around. She submitted several designs to Ned, and finally, one Sunday afternoon, working in the sun with a vicious cold, she came up with the design that is now the logo of the SVP.
It's such
Wow.
a simple logo. It's just the 3 vertebrae in the center, one of the neural spines, neatly broken off, the marsh pick, symbolizing how you get those fossils, and then the
Fieldwork,
circle
yeah.
to unify it all. So it's a very simple, very elegant logo, but it says so much about vertebrate paleontology. The vertebrae being the data.
These are from Ariops right here, which is a reptilomorph, I think. There's an amphibian from the Permian Basin in Texas.
Data that we use to study the fossils, right? The bones themselves, and the pick, which really symbolizes that you need to go out and find these things. And no matter how much technology advances and how we find new ways to collect data, the basis of paleontology is finding the fossils and going out and getting them. What really brought it home to me was when I found out that Margaret Colbert did it. To me, the fact that this art was put together by someone so intimately associated with paleontology also made a real statement to me.
This is Ned Colbert's original marsh pick. This was the one that was
wow.
used as the model for the SVP logo. It's an iconic tool for vertebrate paleontology, in part because it's on our logo, but also because in the old days, people used these in the field, and it works well for the kind of work that we do. It's delicate enough that it doesn't do a lot of damage if you actually hit a bone.
Yep. So that kind of pick right there, a marsh pick. These are really hard to find nowadays, a wooden-handled one like this. This is very old-fashioned. Our closest equivalent nowadays would be this. This is called a burpee pick, and I think it was actually folks from the Burpee Museum in Rockford, Illinois, who collaborated with the Estwing Company to produce this, but this is the modern equivalent of the old marsh pick here. Really neat stuff. Yeah.
Logo. It's an iconic tool for vertebrate paleontology, in part because it's on our logo, but also because in the old days, people used these in the field, and it
That's
works
what makes
well
the
for
best
kind of
hammers,
work
in my
that we
opinion,
do. It's
Mayor's
delicate
yeah.
enough that it doesn't do a lot of damage if you actually hit a bone.
You never want to hit a bone, but sometimes it happens. Joshy08 says, thank you for your work, and I hope you enjoy your trip. Thank you very much, Joshy. I appreciate that. Yeah. Someday Estwing might have the Anduza model pick. Oh, we'll see, Kennedy. I don't know about that.
The vertebra illustrated in the logo actually represented an extinct amphibian called Ariops, and this was described by a famous paleontologist, Edward Drinker Cope, and was actually illustrated by Margaret Matthews' father, my great-grandfather, William Diller Matthew. Kind of all ties together in a family in that respect.
So Matthew, after joining the American Museum in 1895, rose rapidly through the ranks. By 1908, he was curator in charge. William Diller Matthews.
So William Diller Matthew was also at the University of California Museum of Paleontology. He was, I think he was the director for a while. And hello, Minnie Pie. How are you doing? And we're getting a drop-in from one of our landlords here. Hello, Minnie. How are you? Yeah. you come here for treats or just attention? Huh? Hard steel, never seen one break, but I like the handles on us. Fair mayor space, yeah. It's not the most precise, high tolerance piece of equipment, but you know, it's an important piece of gear. Huh, Mini Pie? Yeah. Oh. Time for treats? Is that what you're here for? Came to collect? Okay. Okay. What are those right there? What are those? Good stuff. Good stuff. You're dropping pieces, Mini Pie. You're making a mess. Disgusting. Disgusting. Why so messy? Why are you doing that? I gotta get some paper towels. There's more. But wait, there's more. Get her a bib. I know, right, the Raven? My goodness. Messy Pie. What did you hear? Just trying to get you to pay for a damage deposit along with the rent. Yeah. Imagine that. Your landlord walks into your house, punches the hole in the wall and goes, hey, you're gonna have to pay for that. You're not getting your deposit back. There's a big hole in the wall. Luckily, I've never had a landlord that bad, but I've had some who were not quite very scrupulous. Like, there's one utility bill, electricity, and everything for the whole building. But then each of the different tenants, each has to pay that full amount. So the landlord's collecting like 3 times as much as they should. Anyway, pretty scummy. I've seen that happen before. Had that happen to me before. But yeah. Anywho, let's get back to this.
Daughter, Margaret Matthew, married Ned Colbert at the American Museum. And that was just a tremendously productive relationship, both in terms of their caring for each other as a family and their fruitful thinking about science together.
The elements in the logo also illustrate 2 famous characters in the history of vertebrate paleontology.
One of the things that's interesting to me about the SVP logo is that you have the Eriops specimen described by Cope and the marsh pick superimposed. And Cope and Marsh are 2 famous people with respect to what's become known as the Bone Wars. Kind of went at each other in the literature and in person and in the field.
Never thought about it that
Marsh
way before.
was a leading paleontologist at Yale University, and Cope was based in Philadelphia. And both the East Coast was the center of vertebrate.
Marsh and Cope in the SVP logo. You've got the yin and the yang of the Bone Wars. Oh man, that's really cool.
In the mid-1800s, or when the Western Interior.
And Pimpcat says the Bone Wars? Yeah, here. This was a big conflict between 2 rival paleontologists in the latter part of the 19th century. Here. Here's a trailer. Promo.
Every iconic dinosaur every kid grows up with. These guys went out and they found that stuff. The feud that fueled the foremost fossil hunt in history.
They began as friends. Then things unraveled. in quite a spectacular way.
What followed was this 3-decade-long war.
The notion that you could turn dinosaurs into scandal is pretty new.
Dinosaur Wars on American Experience.
We usually refer to this as the Bone Wars. And there's a number of different videos that you can watch on YouTube about it, but the best one is an almost hour-long documentary. That's the promo for it there. Here's a link. Yeah. Bookmark that. We do usually a few streams every spring about the Bone Wars. If you go to our VODs page on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of different VODs. Yeah. We often do these like on the anniversary of Marsh and Cope's deaths. Or sometimes on their birthdays. Yeah. So yeah. Anywho, these two rival paleontologists, they're both kind of memorialized in the SVP logo.
Both the East Coast was the center of vertebrate paleontology in the mid-1800s.
Hey, Cacklinsworth, how are you doing?
Hello, hello. The United States was opened up to exploration. Both Cope and Marsh had field parties out in the West collecting fossils.
Edward Drinker Cope was
Mark Norell.
the scion of a very...
So Mark Norell just passed away just a few weeks ago. And at my very first SVP in 2013, I can tell you this story. We have a tradition at SVP. We have a tradition where there's a party at the end of the meeting. After all of the presentations, after all of the science discussion and everything, we have a dance party. Paleocast. Let's put this video on YouTube. The dance moves contained herein are not condoned by Paleocast, but are representative of each academic's respective institutions, etc., etc. My friend Nate Carroll, we should really interview soon. He's now curator of the Carter County Museum in Ekalaka, Montana. Yeah. Nate's got some moves. So anyway, and there's Jingmei O'Connor right there. He's tearing up the dance floor. So at SVP every year we have a party like this, and it's a tradition that you take your name tag that you've had on for the whole conference and you trade it to somebody else. It's like trading cards, but you only have one, and you have to try and trade up. That's kind of the idea oftentimes. If you're like an established researcher, you might trade with a friend of yours, somebody you haven't seen in years or something. But oftentimes, if you're kind of a younger career, an earlier career person, you try to trade your way up to a big name. So, entered 2013, my very first Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting in Los Angeles that year. So, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed undergrad, I'm super excited to be attending my very first SVP. And I had been hearing about the name tag exchange thing since high school, you know. Heard all kinds of stories about this. And I told myself, Danny, this is your very first SVP. You're going to get yourself a good name. Trade for a good name tag. And so, yeah, I'm out there at the after party looking across the dance floor, and then a friend of mine from Museum of the Rockies, it's the institution I was at the time, he walked up to me, Brian Baziak. Brian was, he worked in the lab there. He's kind of like a, you know, one of the head technicians, I guess. And Brian walks up and he's like, "Hey, Dan, you want to trade name tags?" And I go, "Yeah, sure. Okay." So, yeah, trade name tags. And then I, walking around finding some other friends, and I find another group of friends, and they're like, "Danny, no, you traded down." They said they were trying to denigrate Brian. I'm like, "Okay, well, shoot, who do I?" And I'm just like scanning the dance floor, like Terminator vision. And then I see Mark Norell there. So Mark Norell was, I think, curator of paleontology at the American Museum of Natural History in New York. Big name. Everybody knows Mark Norell. And he happened to name a certain dinosaur that I had on my poster, comparing it to our new alvarezsaur from the Hell Creek, what would later become Triarchunkus. He named Shuvuia, which is another alvarezsaur from Mongolia. And so I muster up all of the confidence that I can, and I saunter on over to Mark Norell. I start talking to him about alvarezsaurs. Short interaction, but he's a big name, and I'm just a lowly undergrad. At the end of this, I ask him, "Mark, would you mind trading name tags?" And, well, here. There we go. This is a big deal for me at the time, Yeah. So I still have this from SVP Los Angeles 2013. There's the Smilodon logo there. So yeah, that was a big deal for me. So Mark just passed away a few weeks ago, and yeah, it's a loss for the field. But I've got a fond memory the time that I met Mark Norell, and he traded his name tag to me. Thanks when I walked back to my group of friends from Museum of the Rockies, and they took one look at this, and they're like, "Whoa!" And Brian Baziak almost fainted. He's like, "Wait, does that mean Mark Norell is wearing my name tag?" And I said, "Yeah, you bet, Brian." So yeah. Anyhow. So NFL players swapping jerseys, got it from Paleontologist? Oh, definitely. C-152 flyer, yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah. It is a sweet memory, Junebug. I look back on that fondly. A personal connection to Mark Norell. I never really got to work with him. I've interacted with him at a couple of conferences since then, I think. But that was the main thing, Yeah.
Out in the West, collecting fossils.
Edward Drinker Cope was the scion of a very wealthy family. He inherited what would be now in the tens of millions of dollars when his inheritance came through, and he used it all basically to build this collection, and he kept it in his house. And later in life, he ran into financial difficulties, and the American Museum of Natural History was able to purchase parts of the collection.
My name is Laura Hornbach, and my great-great-great-grandfather, Jacob Bull, discovered the Eriops skull on the North Texas frontier on the Red River in 1876. He gave that skull to Edward Drinker Cope, who named it. Our family was part of the original Swiss colony here in Dallas, and Jacob was more comfortable speaking and writing in German.
Eriops was part of a very important early Permian vertebrate community. The type specimen that Bull found was the skull, but he collected many other specimens. One that he shipped back to Cope, he wrote the address on a piece of brown paper as a label, and on the other side of it, he wrote a poem in his native German, an ode to Eriops.
Nun wirst du mit noch manchen anderen zum Sitze des Professors wandern. Geistreich denkend wird dich erwecken, aus deinen Trümmern dich zusammensetzen. Der Nachwelt wird dann erzählen, wie du gebaut in deinen Zähnen, wie du gelebt und wie verschwunden, benennen dich und was gefunden.
Now you will, with some few others, trek to the professor's seat. awaken through his careful thought, be reassembled from your fragments, to tell to others yet to come, from the sculpting of your teeth, how you lived and disappeared, name you he will, and what he found. I was 12 years old when I went on my first dig. My mother came along, and I found what I later would know was an Ariops clavicle. At first, it was exciting to find my first bone. It looked like a tooth. It later became a rib. I got to jacket my own fossil and take it back to the museum. And then it was later discovered.
A real dinosaur?
Samuel, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing.
It was Ariops, the iconic animal of the SVP logo.
One of the big efforts SVP is making is to be a lot more international. And one of the results of this is that now our iconic logo for SVP is now not so North American centric, but we have members from all over the world. So our symbol has moved all over the world as well.
I carried back this SVP logo to Japan, and even because I have these Mongolian students, I have many connections with other countries, so this logo distributed in many, many countries in different generations. For me, when I was a student, it was kind of dream to come to SVP, and it's passed on to my students, and they're so excited to be here and meeting other people. And they have more connections with other people from other countries.
Whenever I go out in the field, I always wear my SVP hat. It's a khaki hat, I always put it on. It has the logo right on the front of it, Society of Vertebrate Paleontology. I'm always very proud to wear that. So I wear it in China, I've worn it in South Africa, I'll wear it again in South Africa this year, but I always take that with me.
Marsh and Cope are brought together in the SVP logo. The vertebrae described by Cope. Behind them, a marsh pick. The circle represents SVP unity. First used in May 1943, it has symbolized our society ever since.
Very nice. There's Margaret Culbert there. Beautiful. I've never seen this video before. This is great. Yeah. Really nice. I'll give you a link right here. And this currently has 2 thumbs up, one of them mine. Only 74 views? That's nuts. There. Does this guy have any other SVP videos? Huh. Anyway, good stuff. Stitched to the back of a jean jacket? That would be really cool, Petrodactylus, yeah. Again, I want to do like a larger 3D print of the logo in 3D, you know? I gotta be able to find like a file of a marsh pick, and then I searched Sketchfab for Ariops. Just in the hopes that like somebody would have had a skeleton of one of these critters. I can take the vertebrae out and print them, and now we've got a skull, but it's not downloadable. But no vertebrae, so I don't know. I'd like to be able to I should maybe talk to some of my colleagues there, see if somehow I can get hold of those files, and maybe I can print a few of them, and maybe they could be like an official SVP thing. They can have it at the check-in desk or whatever, like if somebody wants to lug this out to the next meeting, kind of thing. Anyhow, C152 Flyer says, too bad they can't get credit for the 200 people who just watched it with you. Well, there's the link in the chat. Again, if you want to give that another view, or a thumbs up, please do. Yeah. So it's a local DVPS in my area. Nice, okay. Cool. Yeah. And Dr. Electro, I am indeed going to the UK. I'm leaving tomorrow. Can't wait. So I gotta get ready for that. We've still got Thursday Birds Day to do, so shoot, why don't we start that up right now? Without further ado, time is short. It's Thursday, and on Thursdays, we celebrate that dinosaurs are not actually extinct. They are still among us today. And there are how many living species of dinosaur on our planet currently?
Over 9,000!
It's true. Birds. They number about 10,000 species. Some people say 11,000. Every single one of them is a dinosaur. Birds are living dinosaurs. So, without further ado, Thursday Birds Day starts right now.
Hold on, something's coming out of here. Look, there's a bird, dude. It knows what's good. I'm telling you, I just heard it inside.
I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's gray and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you, it's Thursday.
Thursday Birds Day.
Birds are all around us in everyday life. But most of the time we hardly even notice them. Thursday Birds Day is a step toward correcting this oversight. Do you want to be part of Thursday Birds Day?
I don't know.
Here's how you can contribute. Go outside during the week and pay special attention to the birds around you. See if you can take a picture of a bird. It doesn't have to be a good picture, any old photo will do. Upload the picture to the Discord and we will discuss it on Thursday. Simple as that. Thursday Birds Day is an invitation to go outside and appreciate the grandeur of the natural world. It's a reminder that, since birds are theropods, dinosaurs still enrich our daily lives.
It's great!
And finally, it's a celebration of the amazing history of life on our planet. So, happy Thursday Birds Day!
Happy Thursday Birds Day, everyone. Let's get into it. Without further ado. Boyds. There you go, baby. Yeah. Holy cow, we're going all the way back to October 24th with these, so we've got a bit of a backlog here. We'll get through it. So, Cacklin's Wharf. It's got a walking video here. Walking through the Netherlands. Dragonflies, house sparrows, barn swallows, a stork. Great crested grebe. Very nice. Here, I'll give you a link to this, chat, if you'd like to watch the whole thing. But we'll find a couple of highlights here. If you're just looking for a kind of a relaxing video to chill out to. Beautiful scenery, and a few birds encountered as well. Who are these? Barn swallows, maybe? Nice. Look at this pastoral scene here. Just beautiful. Oh, and those look like loons, almost. Not loons, coots? Or grebes? Are those some cowbirds? No, they're just cows. That's cool. Coots. Nice. Cacklin's Wharf. Okay. Yeah, so we've got American coots where I live. I wonder if your coots out there in the Netherlands are closely related. Sister taxa, maybe. American coot. Slate-colored coot. Common coot. Red-gartered coot. It's more coot species than I thought. Huh. I like this. Coots, more hens, and more. For all your waterbird needs. Yeah. The Eurasian coot is very similar to the American coots this Neverwinter. Okay. Eurasian coot. Also known as the common coot. Okay. So, American coot, common coot. They are very close relatives. Nice. Very nice. Anyway, thank you, Cacklinsworth, for posting for us. Good stuff. Again, if anybody wants a relaxing stroll through the Netherlands here, there's a link for you. Good stuff. Thank you, Cacklinsworth, for posting. Excellent. Little Pink Pony's got a pack of wild dinosaurs patrolling the lake. Had to be extra quiet. And still, to not become their next meal. I am, after all, a fish. Bonus dragonflies and a butterfly. Lake Michaud State Forest. In Pennsylvania, I guess. Very nice. Yeah, we've got some Canada geese there. Branta canadensis. Dragonflies. And a butterfly. Very nice. Cool stuff. Thanks for posting, Little Pink Pony. Lovely. And 2 small archosaurs. Nice, Alexander Morrison. With music by Brian Eng. Let's take a look. Here. Nice. So a dinosaur, which is in turn a kind of archosaur, pecking into the side of a palm tree, and a young alligator. Not a dinosaur, but another kind of archosaur. Nice. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Yeah. So both birds and crocodiles are part of Archosauria. So they are each other's closest living relatives today. Birds and crocs form a group called Archosauria. I've talked about this a lot. I'll do it again real quick. You might think that birds and crocs look pretty different from one another. Like, really, are they each other's closest living relatives today? The answer is yes. And it makes a lot of sense when you think about what the in-between would be. Like, if you try and imagine what would a cross between a bird and a crocodile look like? Well, we look a lot like this, right? A theropod dinosaur? Again, birds and crocs, two seemingly very different animals, but when you recognize that dinosaurs are in between them, suddenly it makes a lot more sense, right? Birds evolved from a dinosaur group not too distant from Allosaurus here. Birds are a kind of theropod. They're kind of Maniraptoran theropod. Kind of Coelurosaur. Yeah. Anywho. Last pictures I understand. No worries, Chaotic Kitten. We'll take a look. But good stuff, Alexander. Thanks for posting. No, I don't know what this is doing. Bird looks like he's coming in for a landing there. Fake do it. Very nice. I don't know who that is. Kind of European bird, I presume? Nice. That's a great shot. I like that a lot. And Guiber has got, chatting around the water cooler, female splendid fairy wren. Beautiful. Oh, there's probably these guys. Malurus splendens, showing their no color whatsoever and a pair of silver eyes. Right there, these are the guys on the right. And then a male splendid fairy wren showing off all his color. Just astonishing. Very rarely do you see this kind of blue in biology. It's not common. Here it is. Lovely. Good stuff. Thank you, Guiber, for posting. Excellent. Andy's the 188. He's got some birds doing hard time here. What crimes are they guilty of to be locked away from society like this? No, very cool. I don't know if I can identify any of these guys, but they're all neat. Very cool. And science with Balint. Man, all tricked out in special livery here on Discord. Balint's got to have Discord turbo power or whatever it's called. But yeah, from a local park in New Jersey, this is, of course, a great blue heron. This is Ardea Herodias? Is that right? Great blue heron. Ardea Herodias. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, nice. And Ribsta, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Welcome to Thursday Birds Day. Great blue heron. Nice. Part of the Ardea Day, the herons and egrets. Genus Ardea, the herons. Good stuff, Science. Thanks for posting. TMK has got a... What is this? I would guess like lesser goldfinch, but I'm not... It's a little big. Very cool how it's holding that snake in its talons, too. Pretty neat. I know that's not a snake. I'm making a joke. The Carolina warbler, says Mayor Space. Your guess is probably better than mine, if it's an East Coast bird, especially. Yeah, nice. Mayor of Space has got diamond firetail finches, and these diamond doves we're always hanging out together at the Toledo Zoo Aviary. Yeah, just like the David Bowie song. Diamond doves. Hang on a minute. Give me a sec. Let's see. Hang on. Bear with me. Diamond doves. Nice. Yeah, they call us the Diamond Doves, Neverwinter. Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks for posting, Mayor Space. Diamond firetail finches and diamond doves. Canyon Boy has visited Taiwan. Didn't see many birds since there was a storm, but I did see this one. It's an oriental magpie.
This drawer contains almost all of the North American identified specimens of Troodon.
Fishbits. Sorry, Mr. Fishbits. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. I appreciate you clicking that follow button. Good to have you here. Welcome to Thursday Birds Day. Oriental magpie. This looks a lot like our black-billed magpie that we have here in the States. But yeah, just hanging out in front of the flags, you can tell you're in Taiwan. Wow. That's a great picture, you know? Yeah, good stuff. Neverwinter Fool's got an indigo bunting, Passerina cyanea, at Valley Forge National Historical Monument in Pennsylvania, PA. July 2021. Valley Forge is a great birding spot. Check it out if you're ever in the Philly area. Nice. Very cool. So unlike General George Washington and his troops, who nearly freeze to death in Valley Forge during the Revolutionary War, these birds are presumably much better at keeping themselves warm due to their plumage. Washington probably could have taken a few pointers from them. Cool stuff, Neverwinter. That is a beautiful photo, by the way. I mean, look at this. Look. At that level of detail. Just gorgeous. Well done, as usual, Neverwinter. Excellent. Indigo bunting. I want to see where they show up on our bird tree. There we go. Passerina cyanea. So they show up with the other buntings. I guess that shouldn't surprise me. Dick sizzles, red-breasted chats, gray-throated chat. This is like a BuzzFeed quiz. What kind of chat are you, chat? Are you a gray-throated chat? A red rose-breasted chat? Huh. Twitch chat. There you go, Sibley. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Neverwinter. Great bird as always. And some Canada geese flying past. There you go, Cupo. There's a lot of them there. Wow. Good stuff. Going south for the winter, I presume. Spectre Cupo. Thank you, thank you. And he's the one who's got some farm geese, it looks like. Nice. I love how they've just got a little thatched roof there to hang out under. Very nice. You could set up a little tiki bar under that thing. Nice. And Sarah's Rainbow says, really terrible pick, but they're too fast. Can anyone confirm that this is a flicker bird, please? It's been driving me crazy. Oh. Might be. Interesting, Sarah's Rainbow. Interesting. We'll see if we have a response later on in the thread. Rushwing's got a feeling they're neighborhood blackbirds at a nest nearby, and my suspicions have been confirmed. This little guy must be a freshly fledged because they haven't grown any of their tail feathers. Just a little bit of downy fuzz hanging on there. Nice. It's funny how juvenile passerine birds, kind of look like old men. With the, like, patchy hair. Yeah. They keep flickering past too fast for photos, says Charlie's Dragon? I guess so. Anyway, but very cool. Blackbirds. Awesome. Get off my birthday. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. It does look kind of like a mirror, doesn't it, And Neverwinter confirms to Sarah's Rainbows, yes, this is indeed a northern flicker. Calaptes auratus. You can tell by the U-shaped black patch just below the throat. It's so cool to have such a an accomplished birder here in the community. I appreciate you, Neverwinter. Good stuff. Yeah. Look at this interaction. I love this. You know, we have such a great community here. We really do. And hey to you too, Want Nitrous. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. And Halation Effect, what's shaking with you? Good to have you here. Dr. Tara says, seems like we're talking about condors a lot in this Vikita stream. Oh, did you post this during the Vikita stream on Monday? Nice. Yeah, Monday, November 3rd. Just went to the Fort Worth Zoo. Seeing them use their titanic wings is definitely an experience. Oh boy, let's have a look. Oh, yeah, nice. Super cool. Yeah. Condors are so neat. I was lucky enough to see some in person just a few weeks ago in San Diego. At the San Diego Zoo. And I was lucky enough to be there with two birders more accomplished than myself, Yogurt Garrel and I Paint Burbs. Here they are, looking at the California condor here. Here's Liz pointing it to the condor. Super cool. I think this might be the first one she'd ever seen one in person. First time. Yeah. Yeah. And, Otter in it, I did indeed go to the San Diego Zoo, and I did get to see the pandas. And they were, disappointing. As usual. I know they have to make a big deal out of the pandas because they have to recoup their investment. Pandas are extraordinarily expensive to keep in a zoo. They were, I thought, the least interesting animal at the San Diego Zoo. Everybody else was, like, super lively, looking around, like, you know, just happy to be there, happy to be alive. The pandas, as usual, were asleep and not doing anything. Sorry. Least interesting animal at the zoo, I thought. Yeah. Pandas are cool animals, but I've never seen them do anything interesting every time I've seen them in a zoo. And the San Diego Zoo is one of these remarkable places where the animals are so well cared for that everybody just seems super happy all the time. I've never been to a zoo where everyone seems so content, so sprightly and active and alert, except for the pandas. I'm sure they're extraordinarily well taken care of, but they're pandas. They don't do much. Yeah. They're busy digesting all this bamboo. I mean, without a doubt, yes. Charlie's Dragon, yeah. Yeah. In the reptile section, yeah, Petrodactylus. So many. Again, I've never been to a zoo where their reptile house is just. There's so much activity. Everybody is alert, looking around. Sometimes they seem just as excited to see you as you are to see them. I've never been to a reptile house like that before. San Diego Zoo is doing something right. You know? Yeah. Dating's a recurring dismissal of living mammals, says Spartan. Fair. You know? Although, you know, mammals, I feel like I give mammals their flowers. Some of my best friends are mammals, you know? I'm a mammal. Yeah. Can you buy bamboo to give the pandas? You can't give it to them directly, but I'm sure if you were to make a donation to the San Diego Zoo, maybe you could earmark it to buy the pandas the bamboo. Yeah. We were there around 10 a.m. and they were very active. That's around the same time that I was there. I'll do it. Maybe 11 a.m. But yeah. I think I even took a picture. The pandas were just being lazy. Yeah. So just kind of drooped over the edge of this like a rug. But you know, they're pandas. It's what they do. Yeah. Those mammalian landlords never go ignored. It's true, Lenina, yeah. Mayor of Space says, come on, you bums, go to work. Yeah. Love to go someday. Yeah, San Diego Zoo is incredible. It really is. We saw them climb, eat, and go pee. Pics and videos on my Instagram if you want it. Very cool. Ought to do it. Nice. Nice. Anywho, cool stuff, Dr. Tara. Just prompted a whole tangent there. Condors. Neat critters. So these are some of the about 500 condors that are alive in the world right now. The majority is still in captivity. But leading happy, healthy lives there. Very cool. Good stuff. And Cacklin's got, again, we're covering 2 Thursday Birds Days here this week. So we've got 2 posts from Cacklin's Wharf. Grey heron is fishing in Gasparsum Park, Amsterdam. Occasionally he or she catches a fish, but also note the shifting light of the early evening sun. Cool. Ooh, nice shot there. Success. Good for you, great blue heron, Ardea herodias. Look how it takes a little swig of water, too, to help the fish wash down the throat. Nice. Beautiful bird. They really are, blueberry romal. They really are. I used to live right next to the Oakland Alameda estuary, and almost every night there would be a great blue heron hanging out there and a couple of great egrets. And around this time, like just at dusk or twilight, the lighting conditions were just perfect for them to be able to catch all these little fishes right there on the surface. They'd hang out on a boat dock, just dart their heads in, be catching these fishes left and right. And like you would see them achieve moderate success. Like 1 out of every 2 or 3 strikes, they'd catch a fish. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And it's actually Ardea cinerea, the gray heron. Really, Neverwinter. Interesting. Well, I'm going to give everybody a link so they can watch this too. Good stuff. Gray heron. I wonder if its sister taxon to the great blue heron. Very similar to the great blue, says Neverwinter. Okay. Gray heron, Ardea cinerea. Sister taxon to the Quai heron, sister species. And then you have the great blue. Okay. So, but yeah, the great blue and the gray heron have been separated for 2.5 million years, give or take. Wild. Huh. Oh! Nice, caught one there too. 2 for 2. Well done, gray heron. Well done. This is so cool. Oh man. I see the differences, but they are slight besides the color. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense for 2 species to diverge so recently. Cool stuff. Yeah. And Murph, holy cow! I love hornbills. Oh man. Back in maximum security, this delinquent was hovering around its mugshot. 2 notes, gular pouch. Also, does this bird have eyelashes? They do. Yeah, no, they absolutely do. Hornbills have got beautiful, luscious lashes. Maybe it's Maybelline, or maybe it's just evolution. Check that out. Yeah, birds are fabulous. There you go, Petrodactylus. Where's those? Do we have Ios? Is it Ios Glamour? Is that the emote? Are the lashes made out of more feathers? They are indeed, Joshi. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So birds don't have hair, but they do have different kinds of feathers, and some of those feathers are just single filaments. They look a lot like hair, but they are feathers. Ios Glam. Not this one. Where is the one? Ios Lashes? Ios... Man, Ios is running out of emote slots. Huh. There used to be a... It has nails? I don't know. Anywho, cool stuff, Murph. See, even being this beautiful, you can still end up behind bars or behind chain link fence, in this case. Stay in school, kids and birds. Don't talk to the cops. Pretty is... That was the one I was thinking of. There we go. That's totally it, Lenina. Ios Pretty. Yeah. Nice. Ios Pretty. Thank you, Charlie's Dragon. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff, Murph. And Neverwinter's got an Eastern Phoebe. Saornis Phoebe. Think of it. Highby Beach, Cape May, New Jersey. During the Fall Birding Festival in October 2022. Nice. Phoebes are flycatchers known for their tail bobbing behavior. Eastern Phoebe. I don't think we have these where I live. There we go. The Eastern Phoebe. Saornis Phoebe. How close are they to the black Phoebe? Because that's one that I see with fair frequency in the Bay Area. Same genus. Oh, they're sister taxa. Very cool. So they've only been separate about 1 million years. Nice. Okay, very cool. Excellent. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, Neverwinter. Thanks for posting. Black Phoebes are more common on the West Coast. Nice. Yeah, do we get Eastern Phoebes here? I don't think we do. Eastern Phoebe, yeah. Huh. Yeah, there we go. Permanent residents all the way up the California coast. Go for them. Good stuff, Neverwinter. Thanks for posting. Chaotic Kitten's got gorgeous birdies doing birdie things. Day tour in Ireland to Cahir Castle. Blarney Castle. Oh, nice. I think this is the Rock of Cashel grounds. Ooh. We've got a ducko or a goose. Some kind of goose. Nice. Having a grand old time there. Lovely. And look at all these other geese. Excellent. Very nice. A bunch of pictures of the castles and birds photobombing the pictures. Can you spot them? Difficulty level 1 or 2. Oh. Where are those birds? There's a bird on the peak right there, right? There's a bird up there on the peak, I think. Nice. Very nice. Good stuff. Thanks, Chaotic Kitten. Yep. Beautiful. All right, we got it. Nice. And Salamander. All these birds... And this was after I sat and stared out the window for like a full 10 seconds thinking, well, no point in grabbing my phone. We've passed most of the birds already. Surely there can't be many more. And then there was. That's the thing about birds, is that they're around. Look at them. Scores of birds. Many birds. Even in our built-up landscapes, even where we've paved paradise and put up a telephone pole. Birds still abound. They're good at that. They tend to be pretty adaptable critters. Kudos to them for living in our bombed out landscapes. Still managing to make a living. Yeah. Good stuff, Salamander. Thanks for posting. You might win today's award for most birds posted. That's a lot. That's a great many. Well done. Loads of birds on lines. There you go, Casey Snowart. Yeah, how are you doing, Casey? I hope Vaquita Week has been going as swimmingly as it started out. Birds is good people. This is Mayor Space. Gotta love those birds. Good earners. Yeah. Joshi's got a wild turkey in the backyard. Several wild turkey from December 2024. Nice. And actually, this is the perfect place to end Thursday Birds Day for the next 2 weeks because... Oh, shoot. 3 weeks. We might have to do Thursday Birds Day on Wednesday next week. Because, not next week. Next time we do Thursday Birds Day. Because... our next Thursday Birds Day is the biggest Thursday Birds Day of the year. I'm not making any sense at all, am I? Here. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting. And then the next Thursday after that is Thanksgiving Day. Which is the biggest Thursday Birds Day of all. We'll be talking all about the evolution of birds from their dinosaur ancestors on the days leading up to this. So yeah, I don't think we'll be doing a stream on the 27th, and I should alter this in order to make that plain. There we go. But yeah, shoot. Yeah. Lordy, I think, is going to be hosting Thanksgiving, and she's going to need help from me in order to do that. So I don't think we'll be doing a stream on Thursday the 27th. That is Thanksgiving Day here in the U.S., which is a kind of a day of... It's a holiday here in the United States, for anybody who's unfamiliar with Thanksgiving Day. But this is kind of a day of remembrance, you could say. Wherein we here in the U.S. Pay homage to this incredible bird, Meleagris gallopavo, and remember all of our fallen soldiers who gave their lives in the Great Turkey War. The turkeys obviously won the war. And that's why there's usually one or sometimes two turkeys who were officially pardoned by the federal government of the United States. Regardless of the severity of their crimes, they get pardoned on the White House lawn, actually. Kind of as a tradition. Australia famously lost a war to emus, and we lost one to turkey. Anyway, Turkey Day, exactly, Never Winterful, yeah. The Princess's classic, birds winning wars. They're very resilient animals, you know, it all goes back to their dinosaurian ancestry. So anywho, we'll be talking more about this, and making further jokes, when I come back from SVP. But again, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks here. So I hope that everybody, hope you don't miss me too much. I'm going to miss you a lot. But I'm going to be having a really good time there in England, attending the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting in the crown jewel of the British Isles, Birmingham, the most beloved city in the Commonwealth. in the United Kingdom. It's going to be really good. I hope you'll keep an eye out for Twitch stories, which I'll be trying to post to the Twitch app. With some updates and stuff. And I'll be posting to Blue Sky and things as well, I'm sure. But yeah, I got to go get ready for this, actually. I have emails to respond to. I have my bags to pack. These are not fully packed yet. So yeah. I'm going to miss all of you, but be back in just 2 weeks. So you all take care of yourselves until then. But for right now, let's wrap up today's stream, shall we? And we'll put an Archaeopteryx under our credits. This is the London Archaeopteryx specimen right here, by the way. Which I'm hopefully going to see in person. Anyway, thank you to everybody showing up in our credits here. And let's see who else is streaming here on Twitch right now, whom we might raid into. Let's see. Who else is doing... Oh, Fossil Preparator is just starting? Excellent. Well, let's go right into Fossil Preparator. Doing some fossil prep live on Twitch. They're just starting off right now. So we'll go tune in a minute. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I know the internet is a big place. I really appreciate your time and your attention, your questions, your enthusiasm, your followers, your raids, your subscriptions and gifts and donations through Ko-Fi as well. Thank you so much to everybody who supports these streams financially. I could not do this without your help. It is a tremendous honor to be able to do this kind of outreach full time. And I'm looking forward to learning a whole lot, networking, making connections at SVP over the next 2 weeks. I'll be doing my very best to learn what I can and continue to develop my knowledge and expertise and everything that I can bring to you. To continue to do my very best in science communication. Thank you everybody for making this possible, and shoot, I will see you all in 2 weeks. Let's go check out Fossil Preparator. Bye-bye, everybody.